Hey everyone, welcome to FanFic Canon. Thanks for hitting play. I'm thrilled to bring this fan-made story to life for you. If you enjoy the ride and want more narrated fanfics, smash, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss an episode. And if you want audiobook of a novel of your choice, join my Patreon. Request any title that's freely available online, and I'll produce a full narration just for you. Now, let's dive into today's adventure.
For a ship, fast isn't how quickly it sails, but how quickly it sinks. Remy proved that saying true. Like a runaway speedboat, he bolted across the water's surface only to plunge beneath it after barely 300 meters. The crowd on shore roared with laughter at his dramatic dive. Underwater, he shifted into a steady swimming posture. Thanks to his modified goggles, the world beneath the surface was crystal clear, sharper even than his vision on land. For the first time, Remy took in the beauty of the Black Lake. Untouched by industry, its waters were pristine, filled with long kelp-like plants swaying like trees in a hidden forest. Tiny fish darted past, some even pausing curiously as if to ask why such a large, clumsy creature had entered their domain. The silence of the deep wrapped around him. To Remy, it was calming, almost therapeutic, but he knew anyone with thalassophobia or claustrophobia would see it as pure hell. Relaxed, he followed the radar marks in his goggles toward Luna's position, switching casually between swim strokes as he advanced. But the longer he swam, the more uneasy he became. He was going deeper and deeper, far from where he'd expected to find her. Is the Black Lake in reality just bigger than the version in the films? Or is something else off? He tried to reassure himself, then kicked harder, speeding up. After 5 straight minutes underwater, he finally paused before a strange sight, a massive hill of stone with an opening like a cave mouth yawning in its base. It didn't look natural at all. Remy frowned. The Ministry of Magic would never hide someone here. Something's wrong. After confirming he was alone, he swam into the tunnel. The inside was wide, clean, eerily empty. For nearly 100 meters, he pushed through its winding passage until suddenly it opened into a cavernous hall. And there, in the middle, were dozens of mermaids staring at him. Remy froze. Mermaids? What the hell? The Black Lake was supposed to have ugly mermen, not this. They weren't the terrifying creatures he remembered from the Triwizard Tournament. These are the storybook kind, slender upper bodies, golden hair flowing down their backs, fishtails gleaming with scales. They covered their chests only with bands of water plants, giving off an untamed beauty. Their faces were doll-like, some still carrying baby fat, and their heights were no more than 1.5 meters. They looked more like living porcelain figures than monsters. Tentatively, Remy pulled the oxygen tube from his mouth. "Are you mermaids?" The group blinked, whispering to each other, until the largest one, still barely over his chest, was nudged forward. She flushed red as she swam closer. "Lord God," she said softly, head bowed, "we should now be the mermaids you speak of." Remy blinked. "Lord God? Why are you calling me that?" "Because you created us," she answered. "I created you." His mind spun. When? Did future me travel back in time with a time turner or something? The mermaid shook her head. "I don't know how. Only that, 3 years ago, we changed because of you. Since then, we've been waiting." 3 years ago? That was when Remy had first come to Hogwarts. Could this really be tied to? Then it hit him. Wait, are you saying this happened because of that explosion by the lake? Her eyes lit up. Yes. After your miracle, when you created the Bay of Gods, we began to evolve. Over 2.5 years, we grew into what you see now. Remy groaned inwardly. Great. So dumping a pile of magic crystals into the water turned local mermen into an army of golden-haired doll mermaids. Fantastic. Still, curiosity overtook him. He circled the flustered mermaid, poking at her waist. So, when did the changes start? Did it hurt? What are stages? Abilities? Do you? Her cheeks burned, but she answered patiently. The transformation hadn't been painful, just gradual like growing up. But yes, they had developed a gift. "We can control water currents," she said. She lifted a hand, flicked her wrist, and instantly a torrent slammed into a nearby rock, shattering it to rubble. Remy's eyes gleamed. These delicate little creatures weren't fragile at all. They were dangerous. Although the mermaids fascinated Remy, he forced himself to shake off the distraction. He wasn't here to marvel. He was here for Luna. By the way, he asked, narrowing his eyes, Luna's here, right? Did the Ministry of Magic or Hogwarts hand her over to you? The lead mermaid hesitated, then shook her head. No, Your Excellency. The Ministry and Professor McGonagall only asked us to help prepare the obstacles for the second task of the Triwizard Tournament. But we heard Miss Luna was close to you, so we brought her here ourselves. Please forgive us. I see. Remy nodded, masking his unease. Where is she? Is she safe? She is unharmed. She sleeps under a simple stasis spell. Please follow me. The elder mermaid glided ahead, and the younger ones immediately parted to clear a path. They trailed behind like curious shadows as Remy swam after her. Not far ahead, a stone chamber opened. There, Luna floated on a carved slab, eyes closed, her hair drifting in the water like a silken veil. A rope tied around her waist tethered her to the bed. Relief washed through Remy. He swam forward, lifted her into his arms, and checked her aura, calm, steady, untouched by harm. With a wave of his hand, he conjured a protective bubble and pressed his fingers lightly to her forehead. Luna's lashes fluttered, then her bright eyes slowly opened. When she saw him, her face lit with a smile that warmed him to the core. Is this underwater? What spell did you use on me? She whispered. An improved bubble head charm. Remy grinned, leaning closer. He passed through the bubble and kissed her lips. Instead of resisting, Luna smiled into the kiss, wrapping her arms around his neck. When they finally parted, she licked her lips lightly, breathless. It feels strange but nice. A kiss underwater. Do you like it? Then I'll bring you here every day, Remy teased. She didn't answer, just glanced past him at the mermaids clustered in the doorway. Her eyes lit up with wonder. She slipped free from his arms, only to be pulled short by the rope around her waist. Remy chuckled and untied it, and she swam eagerly toward the mermaids. Are you really mermaids? Luna asked gently. The little heads all nodded in unison. Luna's eyes sparkled as she studied them with quiet awe. Unlike Remy's earlier prodding, her curiosity was polite, almost reverent. The mermaids, tense under Remy's scrutiny, now looked at Luna with equal curiosity, their glances darting between her and Remy as if puzzling out their bond. Does Headmaster Dumbledore know about you? Remy asked suddenly. The elder mermaid shook her head. No. The ones who spoke with Professor McGonagall were our kin before we evolved. Then, to Remy's surprise, she bowed deeply. God who created us, please guide us. Tell us how to live in this world, and how to exist alongside wizards. One by one, the others lowered their heads, their soft voices rising in prayer. The sight of so many childlike mermaids humbling themselves nearly made Remy's chest tighten. He thought grimly of the wizarding world beyond. If such beings became known, the nobles, old European families with appetites as twisted as their politics, would never leave them untouched. He steadied himself and spoke firmly. Dumbledore is someone you can trust. Hogwarts is the safest place for you. Stay in the Black Lake, live here, and speak with the headmaster when the time is right. And if you trust me, I'll help you. At those words, the mermaid's eyes lit up. The elder swam forward, excitement breaking through her reserve. Thank you, God. We feared approaching humans. Wizards are so strong, we dare not risk it. But you are different. Remy raised a brow. Different? I'm also a wizard, you know. No. The elder shook her head furiously. You are not merely a wizard. You are the one who changed us. You are our God. We will always trust you. Her sincerity almost made him laugh, though inwardly he doubted their naivety. They were not blank slates. They were once mere folk, an intelligent race with history and cunning. However innocent they looked, they could not be taken at face value. Still, he softened. He reached out and ruffled the elder's hair as if she were a child. Believe me or not, it doesn't matter. Since I had a hand in your creation, I'll take responsibility for you. He checked the enchanted timepiece on his wrist. But for now, I need to return. The tournament isn't over yet. After it is, I'll come back. We'll talk properly then. The mermaids bowed once more, their voices echoing like a hymn through the cavern. It doesn't matter to Remy whether these little mermaids have any ulterior motives or not. As he said, since they came because of him, he must be responsible. Otherwise, wouldn't he be a scumbag? Not to mention that these little ones are so cute and polite. Just for this reason, we have to help them with this little favor. But that will have to wait until the game is over. Remy didn't perform well in the first game. If something goes wrong in the second game, he will be too embarrassed to face people. After saying goodbye to the little mermaids, Remy swam towards the water surface with Luna on his back, and soon reached the surface. Remy swam vertically upwards, and when he reached the surface and looked around, hey, these little guys are really cowardly. They actually built their secret base in the central area of Black Lake. Remy said with a smile, I think they're doing the right thing. Almost no one will bother them here, said Luna. Yeah, let's go to the competition venue first. We don't have much time. Remy said. Luna nodded and put her arms around Remy's neck again, lying on Remy's back and letting Remy carry her forward. Using the breaststroke posture, they swam all the way from the center of the Black Lake to the shore. Amid cheers, Remy lifted Lanata ashore first, and Remy followed closely behind. This time Remy was the last to arrive, but fortunately he did not exceed the time limit and completed the task, although the other 4 people, including Furong, also completed the task. Everyone completed the task, but based on the time taken, Remy sadly became the last in the game. Remy originally felt a little resentful about this, but then he thought, is the current ranking useful? Even if they were first in the first 2 games, what would it matter? The top 3 competition was not a scoring competition. As long as they could pass the first 2 games, everyone would start from the same starting line in the 3rd game of the finals. There was no difference at all. Remy absent-mindedly listened to the long speeches of Headmaster Dumbledore and Director Barty, and then he and Luna followed the crowd back to Hogwarts Castle. On the way back, Remy felt for no reason that he seemed to have forgotten something, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't remember what he had forgotten. Later, after dinner, Remy and Luna quietly left the castle and were about to go to the Black Lake to have a good chat with the little mermaids, but they saw 2 people in a grove. Sirius and Director Batty. Looking at Director Batty, who was motionless and being carried by Sirius, Remy suddenly realized what he had forgotten. Who killed Director Batty? Remy asked in a deep voice. Sirius was stunned for a moment and then shook his head. Director Batty is not dead. He was just hit by black magic. Clam? Not dead. Remy was stunned for a moment, but quickly realized that it must be Sirius who rescued Director Batty. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. What did you come? Remy asked. It's been a while. Sirius thought for a moment and said, I've been here since Harry told me he was selected for the Triwizard Tournament, but I've been hiding in the dark in my animagus form and haven't shown up. So that's how it is. Remy nodded in understanding, and just as he was about to say goodbye to Sirius, he was stopped by Sirius. It's not safe outside. You'd better come back to the castle with me. Sirius said, Death Eaters have sneaked in, and they are very powerful. After a brief hesitation and a glance at Luna, Remy nodded and took Luna and Sirius back to the castle. Right now is definitely not the time to run around. After returning to the castle, Remy first sent Luna back to the dormitory, and then went to the principal's office alone to find Principal Dumbledore. When I arrived at the principal's office, I saw it was so lively. Headmaster Dumbledore, Professor Grindelwald, Sirius, the real Moody, and Lily, the 5 of them were crowded in the small headmaster's office, with Director Barty, who was still in a coma, lying on a chair next to them. It's really lively. How is it going? Have you reached any conclusions or discovered any clues? Remy asked. It should be the person who pretended to be me who did it. I just don't know why he attacked Director Batty. Moody scratched his head and said, he went to great lengths to get Harry to participate in the Triwizard Tournament. Why would he do something that could very well end the Triwizard Tournament? It doesn't make sense. Maybe old Barty discovered something. Sirius thought for a moment and said, "After I rescued old Barty, the mysterious man still had no intention of letting him go. Every move he made was aimed at taking his life, and he hardly attacked me directly. It's possible. It could also be that he was anxious because he failed to defeat little Remy in 2 consecutive games." Grindelwald smiled and said, then looked at Remy. "Remy, did you encounter any special situation during the second game?" Remy hesitated for a moment, then nodded and shook his head. "I did encounter a special situation, but it has nothing to do with that person. I'll talk to you in detail later when I have time." Dumbledore and Grindelwald both frowned. "What happened?" Headmaster Dumbledore asked. "There are no outsiders here. Is there anything that cannot be said? It's not that I can't tell you, but I promise to discuss it with them first and then talk to you." Remy sighed. Lily was keenly aware of Remy's choice of words. "You met them in the Black Lake? The mermaids?" "I guess so." Remy shrugged and looked at Headmaster Dumbledore. "Didn't we team up to blow up the Black Lake in our first year? They are here to settle the score with me." "Join forces to blow up the Black Lake?" Headmaster Dumbledore's mouth twitched, thinking, "Who teamed up with you? That was clearly an accident, okay?" Sensing the strange looks from others, Dumbledore blushed and coughed dryly. "About the mermaid? Then let's put it aside for now," as he said. "The focus now is still on the person pretending to be Moody. Remy, did you see anything?" "What can I see? It's completely messed up," Remy said helplessly. "I only know that he definitely doesn't want me to participate in the Triwizard Tournament. Otherwise, he wouldn't have tampered with my golden egg in the first game. As for the second game, maybe he tampered with it, but the mermaid took Luna to another place to lure me there, and I went directly to find Luna, so maybe I didn't run into her. So it was right to let you participate in the Triwizard Tournament." Grindelwald said with a smile. "How about we just catch the person pretending to be me and feed him truth serum?" Moody suggested after thinking for a while. "No." Grindelwald shook his head and refused without even thinking. "It is still uncertain whether he is alone. If we alert him, our only clue will be lost." Grindelwald's words made everyone fall silent, but Remy felt a little strange. Such words that put the overall situation first were not strange. What was strange was that it actually came from Grindelwald's mouth. No one knew what evil plan this former Dark Lord was up to, or if he simply took the wrong medicine, or if he was just being serious for once. Could it be that he discovered something through studying Harry, causing Grindelwald to be unsure of catching Voldemort now? Remy glanced at Grindelwald and thought silently. Grindelwald was very arrogant when he talked about Voldemort before. How could he say what he said today with that mentality? It's impossible that after a period of in-depth communication with Dumbledore, his thoughts were assimilated by Dumbledore. So who is the top and who is the bottom between them? Before Remy knew it, his thoughts had wandered off again. When he came to his senses, he found that everyone was still thinking about their own things, and there was still no communication. There was silence for a long time, and finally Headmaster Dumbledore made the final decision not to alert the enemy for the time being, and said that he would discuss it with the Minister of Magic, and it would be best if he could persuade the Minister of Magic to fake the death of old Barty. At the same time, the protection of Harry must be strengthened. This heavy responsibility naturally falls on Sirius. He would do so even if Headmaster Dumbledore did not arrange it this way. His purpose of coming to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is to protect Harry. The plan was roughly in place, but the details would have to wait until Headmaster Dumbledore and the Minister of Magic reached an agreement. Everyone dispersed, and Remy was the first to leave. After leaving the principal's office, Remy thought for a moment and then continued what he had not finished before. He went to the Black Lake to find the Little Mermaids and asked them about their specific demands. After some communication, the Little Mermaids expressed their 3 demands to Remy. One is that they hope to continue living in Black Lake. This is their home, and they don't want to move. The second is to hope to officially become a part of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and receive the protection of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Third, I hope to be admitted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Go to school? Can you go ashore? You can't ask the professors to teach you underwater, right? They can't breathe freely underwater like you or me. Remy asked, puzzled. Just now, Remy had asked Sally, the eldest sister of the Little Mermaids, for detailed information about them. Although they could breathe on land, their tails could not turn into legs, as some legends said. It wouldn't be that troublesome. All the professors could do is take a boat and give the lectures on the ship or on the shore, and we could listen to the lectures in the water nearby, Sally said. Oh, that's an idea, but what do you want to learn? Magic? Can you master magic through learning? Remy asked. Yeah. Sally nodded vigorously, then waved her hand gently to control the water flow to bring a small metal box from the stone table next to her. She carefully opened the box and took out a slightly worn wand. I found this wand at the bottom of the lake before. I can use it to successfully cast a levitation spell, Sally said excitedly. I'm sure we can master magic through learning. Cast a levitation spell. Remy was stunned for a moment. Where did you learn the levitation spell? Have you ever been to the castle to take classes? No. Sally shook her head. Some students often practice magic on the shore facing the Black Lake. I learned from them secretly. So that's how it is. Remy suddenly realized, and after a brief thought, nodded and agreed to help them apply to Headmaster Dumbledore. I think it should be fine. As long as it doesn't involve issues of principle, Headmaster Dumbledore is quite easy to talk to, Remy said with a smile. Especially since you are the darlings of the underwater world, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry needs your help in maintaining the safety of the Black Lake. You can rest assured about this. If the deal can be made, we will definitely work with our clansmen to help Hogwarts protect the Black Lake, said Sally. I feel relieved when you say that. I will go talk to Headmaster Dumbledore now. Oh, by the way, there's one more question. Remy, who was about to leave, suddenly stopped and said. Sally nodded. You say, I see that you are all women. Aren't there any men? Remy asked. No. Did you all become female after evolution? Or were you all female from the beginning? We are women. After hearing Sally's answer, Remy nodded thoughtfully, and another question came to his mind. Then, how do you want to reproduce? Asexually? Or with your fellow merfolk? Can you give birth to merfolk with them? Remy asked curiously. We haven't tried it yet after we evolved. Sally lowered her head and stammered. Maybe we still need your help. Need my help? Oh my God, what kind of help? You'd better explain yourself clearly, and it's better not to say that you want help in that area. But I have a girlfriend. Remy, who was instantly uneasy, took 3 deep breaths in a row before he managed to calm his inner restlessness. He nodded calmly, then quickly got back to the point and said that he would go find Headmaster Dumbledore to have a good talk. Remy flew out of the Black Lake like a torpedo and dived into the principal's office through the window, but the room was empty. After being stunned for 2 seconds, Remy suddenly remembered that when the meeting was adjourned, Headmaster Dumbledore said that he would go talk to the Minister of Magic. Well, wait a moment. He greeted all the previous headmasters in the portraits. They seemed to be accustomed to Remy's arrival and were very calm. Even when they saw Remy rummaging through Dumbledore's desk looking for snacks, they did not say anything to stop him. Not only did they not stop him, they even took the initiative to tell Remy where Dumbledore hid his treasured snacks. While eating snacks, Remy added some fuel to the fire that was roasting bird eggs in a brazier to make the fire burn more vigorously. Before, we baked the wings of the end, and now a group of little mermaids have emerged from the Black Lake. I wonder what we will bake this time? A flamingo. Thinking of this, with full expectation, Remy threw all the remaining magic crystals in his hand into the brazier. As the flames shot up to the ceiling, Headmaster Dumbledore and Remy, who suddenly appeared, were both startled. Maybe I should lock the door next time I go out, so that I won't see only ruins when I come back. Headmaster Dumbledore said helplessly after he came to his senses first. Remy grinned and pointed to the window. I came in through the window. The appearance of the Little Mermaids is no different from the previous Endwings. Endwings is just a special dragon, while the Little Mermaids can be regarded as a completely new race. A brand new race, an all-female race whose looks are no less than those of the Vila, and a race that can learn magic and continue to become stronger. Their influence on the magical world far exceeds Remy's imagination. This can be seen from the reaction of Headmaster Dumbledore. After listening to Remy's detailed introduction to the Little Mermaids, Dumbledore was shocked and did not directly agree to anything. Within 2 days, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry had entered its winter vacation, but the matter of the Little Mermaids had not yet been resolved. Because of the incident with the Little Mermaids, and the fact that Voldemort was still missing and the fake Moody was planning something bad, Remy had to postpone his previous plan to travel to the East during the winter vacation. He was too busy during this holiday. Headmaster Dumbledore is also very busy, even busier than Remy. During the first week of the holiday, Remy stayed in Hogwarts Castle, discussing the Little Mermaids with Headmaster Dumbledore every day and occasionally discussing the third game of the Triwizard Tournament together. In the second week, Headmaster Dumbledore, who had already come up with a rough framework, contacted Sally with the help of Remy to formally discuss the future of the entire mermaid race. However, this is not the end yet. Discussions between the two parties alone are not enough to finalize the matter. Headmaster Dumbledore still has to negotiate with the Ministry of Magic and finally with the members of the Wizengamot. The Wizengamot is an organization that predates the Ministry of Magic and is now a combination of the court and parliament. It consists of about 50 members, and the chief wizard is called the Chief Wizard of the Wizengamot. It is not only responsible for trying serious criminals in the wizarding world, but also for handling all major events in the wizarding world. If any major event cannot be approved by the members of the Wizengamot, it will not be legally compliant. It is somewhat similar to the upper and lower houses in the Muggle world of England, but there are also significant differences. In the Muggle world of England, the House of Commons is called the House of Animals, the House of Lords is called the House of Botany, and the Wizengamot should be called the House of Fossils in Remy's opinion, because most of the members there are old-fashioned with outdated ideas. Fortunately, the current chief wizard of the Wizengamot is Principal Dumbledore, so it should not be a problem for him to preside over this meeting on the future of the Little Mermaid race. It's a pity that Remy was not eligible to attend and could not vote in the meeting. Although he couldn't vote directly at the meeting, Remy didn't just sit there and wait. After learning the meeting time from Headmaster Dumbledore, Remy went to find Sirius. Sirius had long been cleared of all charges, and his previous tragic experience had become a legend in the wizarding world. Coupled with his status as the heir of the Black family, he now had great prestige in the wizarding world and was very respected. Remy approached him hoping that he could help him to build relationships and do some glittering ideological work for the Wizengamot members. At Sirius's house, Remy unexpectedly met Harry and Lily. It turned out that they were planning to spend a vacation here and even planned to spend future vacations here. When they heard that the meeting Remy wanted to hold was about mermaids, Sirius, Harry, and Lily all showed great interest. Harry even said that he couldn't wait for school to start to see mermaids with his own eyes. Sirius readily agreed to help, and even said that Remy didn't need to pay and he could take full responsibility. However, under Remy's repeated insistence, he still accepted the special bribery fund provided by Remy. After returning to Hogwarts Castle, since the matter of the Little Mermaids had come to an end, all Remy had to do was wait for the normal process to resume. Remy also had time to continue preparing the equipment needed for the Triwizard Tournament and Voldemort. Among them are 5 extremely effective, life-saving amulets. There are 5 amulets, 4 of which Remy plans to give to the other 4 contestants of the Triwizard Tournament to prevent them from getting into trouble in the third match. And the last one is for Luna. Although Luna has no less than 10 amulets of various sizes and functions on her body, half of which are life-saving, but no one would think having too many amulets is too much, right? It's not like they're so heavy that you can't walk. Time is a relative concept. Sometimes it passes very slowly, and sometimes it passes as fast as a flash. In the midst of the busyness, Remy felt like the vacation was over not long after it started. On the first day of a new semester, Remy approached Headmaster Dumbledore and handed him the amulet, asking him to negotiate with the other 2 headmasters and the Minister of Magic, who would be personally responsible for presiding over the upcoming Triwizard Tournament because of the fake death of Director Bartlett. Headmaster Dumbledore was very satisfied with the amulet provided by Remy and even immediately expressed that he would give Remy 50 extra house points. Although Remy was not interested in the college score, any reward was better than nothing, so Remy gladly accepted it. After classes in the morning and lunch at noon, Professor McGonagall suddenly called the students to a classroom for a meeting. This meeting included all the students of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and only included students of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. At first, everyone was a little confused, especially when they saw Mr. Filch pushing a huge old-fashioned record player on a cart. The speaker was so big that a person could almost fit in it. Every Triwizard tournament has a fixed event, the Christmas Ball. Professor McGonagall said after looking around. After hearing what Professor McGonagall said, the students around him started talking about it. It wasn't because of the ball, but because of Christmas, which was long gone. But because of some changes in the Triwizard tournament this year, the ball could not be held on Christmas, but was postponed to this weekend. Professor McGonagall continued. The students suddenly understood what was going on, and the discussion became louder. They didn't understand what had happened in the Triwizard tournament, and they didn't know about Director Batty's situation. However, Professor McGonagall did not explain the accident in detail. She just continued to describe the dance. The ball has been a traditional event since the Triwizard tournament. After the ball begins, you will serve as representatives of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and dance and communicate with guests from the other two schools at the ball. Therefore, I hope that you can master the ability of dancing and understand the basic etiquette of the dance, so that you can express yourself and be graceful during the dance, showing the excellent style of our school. I hope you can study hard and wait until the dance starts. At noon on the second day, after Professor McGonagall gave everyone a group remedial ballroom dance lesson, the little wizards who were preparing to eat in the restaurant suddenly heard a very dynamic music. In Amsterdam, perchance. The man was dancing side by side by a man with quicker glance. They turned to face each other. It was just happened to dance. That these two men would meet that day and do their favorite dance. Why you can really dance. Why you can really dance. Accompanied by the music, Remy, Luna, and the temporary dance troupe members shook their shoulders rhythmically to the music. The exciting rhythm and magical dance moves quickly attracted all the students. At the constant invitation of all the dancers, a group of students soon joined the dance team. As the number of dancers grew, more and more people joined in, and soon everyone in the restaurant was dancing. Professor McGonagall, who happened to be passing by, was so angry at the scene of all kinds of demons dancing in disorder that his face turned black. Someone noticed Professor McGonagall at the door, and word spread quickly. Everyone instantly became quiet and scattered, sitting down at the nearest table. However, just as Professor McGonagall turned around and had not walked far, the dynamic music sounded again. Professor McGonagall resisted the brainwashing rhythm that kept looping in his mind, walked quickly towards the headmaster's office with a sullen face, and prepared to ask Headmaster Dumbledore to personally come forward to stop the unhealthy trends caused by Remy. However, as soon as she pushed open the door of the headmaster's office, the brainwash music sounded again. At the same time, she saw Dumbledore and Grindelwald posing in the same weird posture as the students she had seen before, shaking their shoulders wildly. They were even dancing and singing face to face. "Oh, Minerva, what's up? Want to dance?" Headmaster Dumbledore asked as he continued to shake his shoulders. Professor McGonagall came back to her senses and forced a smile. "No, I went to the wrong door." "Really? Are you sure you don't want to join? I'd be happy to teach you. It's easy to learn." Headmaster Dumbledore asked with a smile. "Hee no." Bang! Professor McGonagall slammed the door shut. At this moment, he not only felt that he had walked into the wrong door, but also felt that the way he got up today was wrong. When did Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry become so out of tune? It would be fine if the students were just being unreasonable, but how come even the principal? Wait, it seems like this principal is always unreasonable. The case has been solved. It was all caused by the principal's corrupt behavior. Although Professor McGonagall disliked the shoulder shake, a dance that was not elegant at all, it still became very popular in the school. Soon, even international students from 2 other schools were attracted by the shoulder shake and joined the dancing army. The cafeteria, corridors, public dormitories, and even the Quidditch field were filled with students dancing the shoulder dance, and all the students' enthusiasm for dancing was aroused. However, this enthusiasm is not what Professor McGonagall wants to see. She is very worried that someone will do something like the shoulder-shaking dance at the formal ball, which would be a disaster for the ball. For this reason, Professor McGonagall held another general meeting at noon before the ball started and explicitly prohibited students from dancing the shoulder dance at the ball, especially Remy and Harry, who were specifically asked by Professor McGonagall not to dance the shoulder dance at the ball. "I didn't intend to jump. It's all your fault. Professor McGonagall will definitely keep a close eye on us now," Harry complained after the meeting. "Just stare at me. Do you have any secrets?" Remy said nonchalantly. "By the way, have you found your dance partner?" Harry's face suddenly froze. One look at Harry's expression, and Remy understood his situation without him having to say anything. "The dance will start in a few hours. You haven't found a dance partner yet, have you? How about I introduce you to some? I know a lot of beautiful seniors from Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff colleges," Remy said. "Are you kidding? How could I not have found it?" Harry raised his head and said, "I found a long time ago." "Really?" Remy smiled slightly. "Well, I'll go first. Luna is waiting for me to practice dancing with her." "Well, I also want to go practice dancing with my partner. Good luck, Chow." After saying goodbye to Harry, Remy found Luna and really practiced dancing with Luna in an empty room. Luna loves dancing, so she attached great importance to the dance party in the evening and spent several days choosing the dress alone. Some of the dresses were her own, but the rest were provided by Remy. After choosing and choosing, Luna finally chose the Starry Sky suit that she had worn with Remy before. At night, the two of them, wearing Starry Sky suits, came hand in hand to the outside of the hall to meet up with the other four contestants. When Remy saw the other contestants' dance partners, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Harry's dance partner turned out to be Ginny. As if sensing the amusement in Remy's eyes, Harry kept his head down the whole time and didn't dare to look Remy in the eye. After a while, Professor McGonagall came over. When she saw Remy and Luna's dresses, her eyes lit up and she breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was a normal dress, and it was the best normal dress. After listening to Professor McGonagall's brief introduction to the upcoming process, the bells in the clock tower next door rang. Led by Professor McGonagall, everyone lined up and walked into the auditorium. Remy and Luna were at the end of the line, but when they entered the auditorium, everyone's attention was drawn to them. Especially when the two of them danced slowly to the soothing music, countless Starlight special effects floated around with their dance, attracting the obsessed gazes of countless people. But neither of them was affected by others. At this moment, they only had eyes for each other. They smiled and stared at each other, concentrating on dancing one song after another. They are the absolute protagonists of this dance party. Even Professor McGonagall was deeply attracted by their dance. She stood at the edge of the auditorium, her body swaying slightly unconsciously, her eyes filled with memories, and she didn't know what she was thinking of. Just as Professor McGonagall was watching intently, suddenly, the soothing music stopped abruptly, and then the brainwashing rhythm that almost made Professor McGonagall collapse sounded. Professor McGonagall's face turned pale. Just as she was about to step forward to criticize Remy regardless of the occasion, she saw Remy looking at the door of the auditorium in astonishment, and everyone else turned to look in the direction of the door. Professor McGonagall was stunned for a moment and quickly turned to look. As the door of the Great Hall opened, Headmaster Dumbledore, together with Professor Grindelwald, Professor Snape, Professor Hagrid, Professor Flitwick, who was easily overlooked if one didn't pay attention, and the fake Moody, who ignored his leg disease, walked and danced together. What they danced was the shoulder dance. Shoulder dance, Hogwarts group version. After a brief silence, the students were all excited, and Professor McGonagall's face turned green. Headmaster Dumbledore was having a great time. The students' emotions were also aroused. Even the invited wizard band was infected and started dancing. Only the injured Professor McGonagall appeared in the world. Fortunately, the appearance of the Hogwarts band was only temporary. After dancing a song, They dispersed and went about their own business. But the band and students, whose emotions had already been aroused, didn't care about all this. The band played dynamic music, and the students all followed the beat and had fun. In a lively auditorium, the dancers who were originally dancing normally stopped dancing because they could not keep up with the rhythm and join the disco crowd. Only Remy and Luna continued dancing to the exciting music. Gradually, the others left the center of the dance floor empty for the two of them, and they gathered around them, dancing and cheering, applauding from time to time. Seeing that only Remy and Luna were still dancing, Professor McGonagall's expression improved a lot. It's okay. Although Dumbledore, the headmaster, is a bit of a lunatic, Remy, who is usually the most lunatic, didn't cause any trouble today. Not only did it not cause any trouble, it even brought honor to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. After watching for a while, Professor McGonagall, who couldn't stand the chaos anymore, sighed and left the auditorium, leaving the others to continue having fun. Remy and Luna continued to dance to the exciting music. As they danced, it seemed that the band members were competing with them. The rhythm of the music was getting faster and faster. Before long, Remy found it difficult to dance. They continued dancing for a while, and after a brief pause, the music suddenly became as violent as a storm. Remy lost his composure when he couldn't keep up with the beat. Realizing that Remy couldn't keep up, Luna smiled slightly, suddenly grabbed Remy's hand and put it on her waist, then held Remy's other hand and danced the simplest waltz with Remy. To the sound of the most exciting music, the two performed the most soothing dance. The dance, which should have been uncoordinated but was strangely coordinated, soon infected the people dancing around them. Many people imitated the two and stepped onto the dance floor to dance with their partners again. The dance lasted until late at night. After it ended, Remy and Luna went to the kitchen for a delicious snack and then walked hand in hand in the Hogwarts castle. The two walked quietly, passed through the corridor on the first floor, stepped onto the randomly moving stairs, and came to the corridor filled with moonlight under the escort of the moving stairs. Bathed in the moonlight, the two listened to the tinkling of wind chimes in the tower and enjoyed the baptism of the fountain in the square. It was not until the sky turned white that the two looked at each other, smiled, and returned to the dormitory to rest contentedly. After the dance, all the students were busy. There were endless classes and homework to do every day, which diluted the tense atmosphere of the Triwizard Tournament. However, as contestants, Harry and his friends have not forgotten about the Triwizard Tournament. They have to learn as much knowledge and magic as possible in their spare time every day to make the best preparations for the final game. Even Remy was extremely busy. Apart from helping Luna with her homework every day, he hardly ever showed up in the castle. As the Triwizard Tournament draws closer, other students gradually remember the Triwizard Tournament, and the discussion about who will win and who will lose once again dominates the hot search list after dinner. I heard that there were even several conflicts between two professors because of this issue. It was said that those two were Professor Snape and the new Professor Moody. But there were also reports that the conflict between the two was not because of the Triwizard Tournament, but because of the professorship of the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. No one knows whether it is true or false, and no one cares about the truth. They even prefer there to be no truth, so that they can happily speculate. By the way, say bad things about Professor Snape behind his back. After hearing this rumor, Remy always felt that there must be something fishy about it. He knew more information, so Remy was more inclined to believe that Snape, the veteran agent, might be returning to his old ways to test Moody. But it was just a guess, and Remy did not go to Headmaster Dumbledore to verify it, because he also liked to say bad things about Professor Snape behind his back, and the atmosphere was particularly harmonious. Of course, this was only true when he was eating in the kitchen with the students from Hufflepuff College. There was no one in the Slytherin dormitory to talk to him about this interesting topic. In an atmosphere that was both tense and cheerful, the third game of the Triwizard Tournament quietly arrived. The night before the game, Remy carefully checked every piece of equipment to ensure that there was no problem. The venue for the third game was very special. Its starting point was in front of a forest, where with the help of magic an auditorium that was only slightly smaller than the Quidditch pitch had been built. The competition was held in the afternoon. The sky was overcast that day. Although it was just past 4 o'clock, it looked so gray that it seemed as if it was already 7 o'clock. Remy suspected that Headmaster Dumbledore, the other 2 headmasters, and the people in the Ministry of Magic did not know divination, the kind of ignorance that they knew nothing about. Otherwise, a large-scale event like the Triwizard Tournament should not be held in such terrible weather today. However, the time has been set, everything is ready, and even the tickets have been sold out. It would be impolite to postpone the event. Staying in the contestant lounge below the audience seats, Remy was rarely relaxed. After waiting for most of the semester, the fake Moody didn't take any action. Remy didn't believe that the fake Moody was really indifferent to his intrusion. Remy believed that he would definitely make some small moves. There were no small moves before. They must have been kept and saved for use in today's game. Remy didn't know what tricks the fake Moody or the Voldemort behind him would use, but he was fully prepared and was just waiting for the other party to make a move so that he could counter it. I didn't expect you to be nervous. Harry smiled and sat next to Remy. But the rules of this game are very favorable to you. This game requires confrontation, and you have to rely on hard power to win. Are you not going to use magic in this game? Are you here to comfort me because you see I'm nervous, or are you here to gather information? Remy asked. Harry scratched his head sheepishly. Both, but I'm curious as to why you're nervous. I'm nervous because Luna's father is coming to Hogwarts and is sitting in the audience now, said Remy. Oh. Harry suddenly realized what was going on and started winking at Remy. I didn't expect you guys would get to the stage of meeting the parents. Or does Mr. Lovegood not know about this? Harry asked with a gossipy look on his face. The game is about to begin. Gray, depressing and foggy. Walking in this forest, maze composed of a mixture of pine trees and shrubs, is like walking in the legendary Dark Forest. You need to abide by the laws of the Dark Forest and not expose yourself. Remy's brows have been furrowed since entering the maze. He felt very bad here, especially the strange gray mist in the white, which made Remy feel an indescribable discomfort. What made Remy even more annoyed was that he had been in there for quite a while, but nothing had happened and he hadn't encountered anything. It was as if he was really lost in a maze. That doesn't make sense. I turn right at every fork in the road. Theoretically, it's impossible for me to go around in circles, unless... Remy reached out and touched the branch next to him. Theoretically, it is impossible for him to go around in circles in the maze if he keeps turning right, unless the maze is a movable moving maze. There are traces of magic everywhere. This place is completely made up of magic. We cannot rule out the possibility that the maze itself is moving. I just don't know who created this moving maze. The Ministry of Magic, or Barty Jr.? Remy reached out and grabbed the branch to test its strength, then used his hands and feet to climb up along the branch. However, after climbing for a long time, the distance to the top of the wall did not decrease at all. I looked down and saw that it was at least 3 stories high. Turning around to look around, the view was still completely blocked by the plant wall, and there was no such thing as climbing up high to see far. Okay, it seems that this maze is indeed a moving maze, and it's a special moving maze that can move up and down. With a helpless sigh, Remy let go of his hands, leaned back and fell freely, his eyes fixed on the top of the wall. In the gray mist, the blur dividing line seemed not to move at all, and only after Remy fell to the ground did the sense of distance change slightly. He lay on the ground and thought for 3 seconds. Then, while the plant wall was not paying attention, Remy soared into the air like a flying monkey. Looking down at a small wall of plants that was rapidly growing taller and chasing him, Remy smiled slightly and quickly glanced below before they caught up with him. Although the fog was very thick, Remy, who had 24K Krypton Goldog eyes, was still able to sharply distinguish from the vague black shadows in the fog that his current location was near the entrance, no more than 100 meters away. This is really difficult. Why hasn't there been any response after so long? Could it be that this maze is not targeting me alone, so Harry is trapped as well? Or has Voldemort's plan changed? After thinking for a long time, without any idea, Remy was hesitating whether to burn the maze to ashes. Suddenly, Remy perked up and turned to look into the distance. It was so gray there that nothing could be seen clearly, but Remy could sense it. In that direction, far, far away, Voldemort appeared, and he appeared near Harry. Poor Key. It turns out nothing has changed. TSK, still so uncreative. Clicking his lips, Remy took out a small crystal ball about the size of a walnut, which was shining with a dazzling red light from his pocket. This is an extremely special divination crystal ball. It has only one purpose, which is to help Remy calculate the best time to attack Voldemort. Now that it was glowing red, it meant that this was not a good time to take action. Remy waited patiently, waiting for it to turn green. On the other side, in a cemetery with an artistic atmosphere, Harry and Cedric were competing for the crystal cup representing the champion. The two people's postures were very consistent, both holding the handle of the crystal cup in one hand and holding the wand in the other hand, pointing at each other like a sword, but no one cast any magic. Instead, the hands holding the crystal cup kept struggling. Although Harry was at a disadvantage in terms of age, thanks to Quidditch, he was one of the few wizards with good physique, and his physical strength was not inferior to Cedric's at all. The two of them gritted their teeth and pulled the crystal cup hard, and it seemed that they had no energy left to recite the spell. Just as the two were arguing, suddenly, a burst of applause came from behind a tombstone, which scared them both. However, the next moment, instead of letting go, the two of them pulled hard at the same time, almost knocking each other down. Does Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry no longer teach etiquette courses to students? The two of you fought in front of my father's tombstone. Have you ever considered my father's feelings? Harry and Cedric's pupils shrank at the same time when they caught a glimpse of the person walking out while talking. All I saw was a skinny wizard in a black robe and barefoot, but I couldn't tell his gender because there was nothing on his face and only vague outlines of his facial features, like a half-finished puppet that had not yet been processed. Seeing the newcomer, Cedric was frightened by her beauty at first, but Harry immediately thought of the B************** D bridal clerk in Remy's shop. He once tried to see the face under the veil of the soul-destroying person, and that scared him to death. But Harry was sure that the man in front of him was not Remy's clerk, but Voldemort. Harry could recognize Voldemort just by his voice. Not to mention that he had a very special feeling after seeing Voldemort, as if there was a thread connecting him and Voldemort and telling him, "He is Voldemort." But, Voldemort, you are Voldemort. Harry loosened his grip on the crystal cup, took a deep breath, held his wand, and took a step forward, blocking Cedric behind him. Why are you here? Why are you like this? What is your relationship with Remy? Did Remy help you become like this? It would have been fine if Harry didn't mention Remy, but once he mentioned Remy, especially the fact that Remy had turned him into this state, Voldemort, who had been calm and even a little cynical, instantly flew into a rage. Countless black air emerged from his body and instantly covered the sky. An extremely terrifying sense of oppression emerged from him and instantly pressed towards Harry and Cedric. In just a moment, Cedric was blown away by the shock wave formed by the invisible sense of oppression. At the same time, Harry, who was also hit by the shock wave, was not knocked away. Instead, a large amount of black gas emerged from his body. As if he saw the black energy coming out of Harry, Voldemort's face twisted instantly, and red light appeared in the place where his eyes originally had no eyeballs. No wonder my strength keeps disappearing. I originally thought it was because I hadn't been fully resurrected and my body was defective, so my strength kept disappearing. So, it's you who has been stealing my power. Harry Potter. Was it that little b*********** D, Remy, who taught you to steal my power? It's you, who is thinking about me, or who is saying bad things about me behind my back. Sniffing, Remy looked around and continued to stare at the small crystal ball in his hand. After about 10 seconds, the color of the crystal ball had not changed, but Remy felt that a special amulet had been triggered. Cedric is out after all. Is old Volt jealous of his looks? Why are you picking on him when you have nothing better to do? Now that Cedric has returned to the resurrection point, Headmaster Dumbledore will definitely bring a group of people to take down Barty Jr. Don't you think you are selling out your teammates? Remy despised Voldemort in his heart, and suddenly became curious about Voldemort's expression at this moment. Cedric didn't die. Not only did he not die, he also disappeared. I believe Voldemort's expression at that time must have been quite interesting. After waiting for a while, Cedric had clearly gone to count down to revive, but the small crystal ball in his hand still showed a dazzling red light, telling Remy that there was still no suitable opportunity so far. Just when Remy couldn't help but wonder if this thing was malfunctioning, suddenly, the crystal ball turned bright green. It took Remy less than 0.001 seconds to react and use the connection with the amulet on Harry's body to activate the anti-summoning function on it to summon himself over. As soon as the summoning was completed and the teleportation was completed to the destination, Remy felt a strong push on his back before he had time to see the surrounding situation clearly. At the same time, there was a huge force pushing him from the front. Two forces acted on Remy's chest and back, sandwiching Remy in the middle like a sandwich. Remy was silent for a moment, then squeezed the crystal ball in his hand hard and crushed it into powder. What a crap! You call this good timing? Looking at Harry and a faceless man who were attacking him from the front and back, and then looking at a group of black-robed wizards standing not far away, Remy felt sick. His original plan was just to wait for Voldemort to resurrect and trigger the Dark Mark, then quietly capture Voldemort and lock him up. Then he could contact the Death Eaters in Voldemort's name, lead them to stir up trouble, and plunge the wizarding world into panic. However, at this moment, several die-hard Death Eaters were all present. How can we do this? Capture Voldemort in front of them and make yourself their new boss? But Remy planned for so long, just so that he could put the blame on Voldemort if he got into trouble in the future. Go straight? Then hasn't he been working in vain for so long? Just as Remy was stuck in the choice between the two men, the others had already come back to their senses. Harry's eyes lit up, and he suddenly became excited. The faceless man opposite him was even more excited than him. He even interrupted his magic and patted his belly happily. Good, good, good. I was just thinking about looking for you, but I didn't expect you to come to me on your own initiative. Do you know how much I miss you these days? Remy Barrett. Hearing the faceless man's affectionate confession, Remy subconsciously shuddered and got goosebumps all over his body. Looking at the people in black robes wearing strange masks who had surrounded them, Remy felt something in his heart and suddenly felt relieved. Fortunately, they haven't revealed their identities yet. In this way, as long as he could find a way to send them and Harry away first, he could still continue with his original plan. Watch your words. I'm not gay, and I have a girlfriend, Remy said after coming to his senses, then turned sideways and glanced at Harry. Harry, I'll cover you. You retreat first. Why? The two of us can join forces to defeat Voldemort. Harry said, if you don't want to join forces with me, that's fine. You go deal with those Death Eaters, and I'll defeat Voldemort. Remy looked speechlessly at Harry, who was emitting black air while he was talking. For a moment, he didn't know how to comment on him. If Remy had to describe it in one word, he could only think of one. Are you kidding me? Ha, defeat me? You actually want to defeat me? Or you could defeat me by yourself. What will you use to defeat me? Use the power stolen from me. Voldemort laughed and mocked. Steal? I didn't steal your power, but this power chose me. Harry said, today I will defeat you again, just like I defeated you last time. Harry's voice was powerful and revealed strong confidence, but Remy couldn't help scratching his head after hearing it. Like last time? Harry, how did you defeat Voldemort last time? Remy asked. Of course I did last time. Harry was obviously stunned for a moment, and at this moment even the black gas stopped coming out. But it was only for a moment, and then black gas came out Harry's body again, and there was more black gas. Anyway, I've defeated him. If I can defeat him once, I can defeat him again. And this time I'm going to defeat him thoroughly. Harry said loudly. Remy shook his head helplessly and funny. At this moment, Harry was obviously affected by the power in his body, But even if he was affected, he was only thinking about defeating Voldemort to prove himself, rather than killing Voldemort. It seems that Harry has no idea of killing people at all. He is really naive. No, he is really upright. After silently complaining in his heart, Remy looked around to find the trophy and use it to send Harry away directly. However, when Remy saw the trophy next to a pile of rubble, he found that it was broken. It's really like when it rains, it pours. The ship is late and encounters headwinds. Why are my ideas today so poor? Sighing, Remy looked at the Death Eaters who had already drawn their wands and pointed them at him, and then looked at Harry and Voldemort, who seemed to have reached some kind of tacit understanding and walked to the side as if ready for a fair duel. Remy felt even more unhappy. You two are really giving me a lot of trouble. Can't you just follow my script for once? I have planned a bright future for you. Why can't you just follow the script? You must play an improv show, right? Fine, then I'll play with you. As he spoke, Remy raised his hand. The moment he raised his hand, more than 10 colorful magics shot towards Remy at the same time, but Remy was unmoved and didn't even look at them. Buzz! A purple magic shield appeared around Remy, blocking all attacks from different directions. Remy still raised his hand calmly. As Remy raised his hand to his chest, a ball of fire appeared in his palm. A ball of black fire. There was black smoke covering the city over there, and black flames raging over here. Anyone who sees this would be horrified and run away quickly, muttering, "Do dark wizards also fight among themselves?" No matter how you look at it, the battle taking place here doesn't seem like a battle between good and evil, but more like a fight between two groups of black magic. Really fierce fight. There was smoke and fire, and it was all black. A black flame divided the battlefield and formed a hemispherical barrier, trapping Remy and all the Death Eaters inside. Looking at the Death Eaters who had forgotten to continue attacking because of shock, although Remy was still a little confused about how to deal with them, he did not stop at this moment. No matter how we arrange them, that's a matter for the future. Let's just beat them up first. 10 years of sharpening a sword. Yet the frosty blade has never been tested. Today I will show you who has any grievances. After reciting a good poem, Remy took out a sword and flicked the sword blade, and the sword suddenly made a dragon roar. This sword is named Shang Fong. It is 5 feet long and weighs half a caddy. The whole sword is made of strips of narrow-headed hairtail, fish supplemented with deep-sea crystals. It has been pickled in a cold cellar for 9,981 days. Remy introduced while stroking the sword. After listening to Remy's introduction, the Death Eaters who were originally shocked by the black flame magic used by Remy were suddenly even more shocked, and all of them felt a kind of awe that they couldn't understand. Looking at the Death Eaters who were once again intimidated, Remy snorted coolly, raised the Imperial Sword in his hand, and instantly stabbed the nearest person. Special move, Salted Fish Thrust. Bang. But then he heard the dragons roar again, and saw a huge hairtail-like shadow emerge from the tip of the sword, which pierced his chest in an instant, sending him flying and crashing heavily into a stone pillar. When one person suddenly met with misfortune, the others woke up and quickly waved their wands at Remy. Suddenly, magic hit Remy like a huge wave. Facing the surging waves, Remy remained fearless. He just focused his eyes and turned his hand to stab out the Imperial Sword again. Special move, Group, Salted Fish Thrust. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Dragon roars were heard continuously, and fish-like shadows pierced through the huge waves effortlessly and crashed into the Death Eaters, knocking them all away. For a moment, screams and groans of pain were heard everywhere. Humph! Do you dare to make trouble in front of this Sea King? Seeing that a Death Eater was struggling to get up from the ground, Remy snorted again and appeared in front of the other party in a flash. Holding the tail of the hairtail, holding the hilt of the Imperial Sword, Remy swung it hard towards the opponent's head. With good intentions in mind, and not wanting to cause more killings, although the sword was swung towards the enemy's head, the enemy was not hurt with the blade. Only the sword body was used to hit the enemy's face horizontally, so that the attacker would retreat. While swinging the sword, I heard Remy singing loudly. The cold ice fish is slapping you in the face. Bang! The warm nosebleed and tears mixed together. Bang! The colors in front of me were suddenly covered up. Bang! My shadow lingers mercilessly around you. Bang! Tom betrays you like a hangman. Bang! Your face is being ruthlessly slaughtered by salted fish. Bang, bang, bang. Debt to the wrong person. Bang! You must be willing to accept the most painful accident. Bang, bang, bang. In just a moment, Remy put away his sword and stood in the middle of the barrier, with no one around him to look at him straight in the eye. The Death Eaters were lying on the ground in all directions, wailing incessantly, their faces swollen bigger than bathtubs. I'm afraid that even if their biological mothers came, they would not be able to tell who was whose son and who was whose mother. Remy lit a lollipop for himself, looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, and sighed. How lonely it is to be invincible. It's lonely at the top. It's easy to say goodbye, but hard to meet again. Looking back, it has been 5 years. When will the bright moon shine upon me again? Reciting another nondescript poem, Remy glanced at the Death Eaters on the ground, then waved. But the black flames all around rushed towards Remy and the sword in his hand, strengthening it into a black flame blade. Not far away, Voldemort, who was originally holding Harry firmly in a corner while laughing loudly, turned his head as if sensing something. When he saw Remy walking towards him with a 5-foot black sword in his hand, his laughter stopped abruptly. I didn't expect you to be able to take care of them so quickly. What a bunch of losers! Voldemort snorted, continuing to suppress Harry with one hand while waving his wand at Remy with the other. In the previous battle, he suppressed Harry with one hand without using it. Faced with the iconic green light, even Remy couldn't help but shrink his pupils and quickly swung his sword to chop. He didn't want to be stained green. He swung his sword and wanted to retract it, but Remy was surprised to find that Voldemort had turned the killing curse into a continuous output magic. In desperation, Remy had to activate the black flames on the sword to fight against Voldemort's green light and counterattack. Seeing that Remy could still withstand his attack and move closer step by step like last time, Voldemort's expression became more and more ugly as Remy got closer. He couldn't accept what was happening before his eyes no matter what. You didn't think I hadn't improved at all over the years, did you? Remy Barrett. With a roar, Voldemort slowly retracted his arm, and the next moment he swung it out again. As the wand was waved again, the green light of the killing curse more than doubled in size, and even a lot of black light appeared in the middle. However, as Voldemort exerted his strength, the situation did not change drastically. In fact, because Remy also exerted his strength, he moved forward even faster. This completely broke Voldemort's defense. He roared and swung his palm to knock Harry away, then grabbed the wand with both hands and pushed forward with force. Not only was he pushing his wand forward, he was even moving closer to Remy. As he got closer and closer to Remy, the dark green light emitted from the wand in his hand became thicker and thicker, and finally, bang! The magic wand exploded. Voldemort frowned on his extremely abstract face and quickly waved his hand to release a large amount of black air to protect himself. The next moment, he was blasted away by a black pillar of fire. In just a moment, the black flame blasted out hundreds of meters, burning everything in its path. Oops, I used too much force. Wouldn't it scare Voldemort away? After shaking off the black flame on the Imperial sword, Remy reached for his trouser pocket with one hand, feeling a little nervous. If Voldemort was frightened by him and took this opportunity to run away, then he would have worked in vain for the past 6 months. Just when Remy was feeling anxious, suddenly, a roar sounded from a distance. Remy, Barrett. Hearing this roar that seemed to want to eat him alive, Remy smiled and breathed a sigh of relief. If you don't run, then there's no need to run. The raging black flames burned the mountains and boiled the seas, and the scattered black gas collapsed the mountains and shattered the rocks, as if the end of the world had come. The Death Eaters who were watching were all so scared that they P************ their pants. Even their eyes, which had been swollen into slits, widened again out of shock. They had not expected that the newly resurrected Voldemort would be so powerful, even more powerful than before. What was even more unexpected was that the student from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry could not only beat them easily, but could even fight on equal terms with such a powerful Voldemort. This world is so crazy that even if someone told them now that the mouse is the bridesmaid for the cat, they wouldn't be surprised at all. However, what they could not have imagined was that the evenly matched situation they saw was actually a show that Remy put on for them by restraining his strength. Moreover, it was a show only for them. Harry Potter, who wanted to watch it without buying a ticket, had already been killed by Remy through Voldemort. Instead of sending him to the underworld, Voldemort's attack triggered the amulet on Harry's body, and the amulet sent Harry to the resurrection point to revive him. After fighting with Voldemort for a full 5 minutes, Remy glanced at the Death Eaters and felt that the show was almost over. Remy suddenly exerted force and blasted Voldemort back with a column of fire. He pretended to be exhausted and took a deep breath, then turned around and ran away. Voldemort, who had gained confidence from being equally matched with Remy for a long time, laughed wildly when he saw Remy running away and chased after him with a billowing black smoke. "Remy Barrett, you can't run away. You can't get away from me. Stop and let me kill you. Don't worry, I won't kill you all at once. I will torture you slowly and make you beg me to kill you. Ah!" Medego's staff. Rolling his eyes speechlessly, Remy continued to fly higher and farther and strictly controlled his speed, keeping it within a range that Voldemort could catch up with him. However, every time Voldemort caught up with him, he would explode his potential and increase the distance again. It was just like a fisherman walking his fish, except that Remy himself was the fish, and he was walking Voldemort, the fisherman he had hooked. Up and down, left and right, fast and slow. In the last second, it seemed that Remy was exhausted and about to fall, and in the next second, he soared into the sky again. Voldemort, who was already high, became more and more excited as he chased, and his laughter became louder and louder. After walking Voldemort for more than an hour, Remy took a quick look at the situation below and landed on the top of a snowy mountain and dropped a ball at the speed of light. In less than 2 seconds, Voldemort landed in front of Remy. He did not attack Remy right away. Instead, he walked slowly and gracefully towards Remy like a cat playing with a mouse. "Not running anymore? Are you ready to face reality? Remy Barrett," Voldemort said excitedly. Remy rolled his eyes immediately and thought to himself, "Don't you realize that I can go up to the 5th floor without blushing or taking a breath? No, I just think this farce should end," Remy said calmly. No, Voldemort shook his head. "I haven't had enough fun yet. How can it end? I still need to, but I've had enough." After saying that, Remy snapped his fingers. The next moment, the ball thrown by Remy in advance suddenly lit up with a golden light, instantly covering everything within a radius of 50 meters to form a huge golden ball. Voldemort was stunned for a moment, and just as he was stunned, he saw the golden light quickly retract. When Voldemort finally reacted, he suddenly realized that Remy had become incredibly tall. No, not only Remy, but everything around him became extremely huge, so big that the snowflakes on the ground were the size of his palm. Had they all gotten bigger? Or, I've become smaller? Before Voldemort could figure out the problem of relativity, suddenly, the giant Remy bent down and stretched out his big hand to grab him. Voldemort was startled and quickly used magic to resist. But the black smoke was quickly disintegrated by the surrounding golden light as soon as it left his body and disappeared in an instant. Remy grabbed the small, translucent golden ball that was only the size of the tip of his thumb and smiled easily. "How is it, Xiao Fu? Do I look particularly majestic in your eyes now?" Remy asked with a smile. "No, you don't have eyes now. Can you see me?" Voldemort had a gloomy face and black smoke billowed out of his body. For a moment, it was faster than the golden light to disintegrate and dyed the entire golden ball black. Seeing this, Remy's eyes focused, he grabbed the ball and then shook it quickly. Crash! After shaking it for a while, Remy nodded in satisfaction as he looked at the golden ball that had regained its golden color and the little Voldemort inside who had been shaken so much that he couldn't even stand steadily. Don't waste your energy. This is a new home I customized specially for you. Remember to give me a 5-star rating, Remy said. Hearing Remy's teasing, Voldemort's expression suddenly became worse. He said nothing and cast magic again. This time, he dyed the golden ball green. Can you do it, Xiaofu? This is just grass green. It's still a long way from Imperial green. Remy continued to tease, without even shaking. In fact, there was no need to shake it. The shaking before was just Remy's bad taste. This thing was named the Magic Trapping Bead by Remy, and its purpose was to imprison Voldemort. From the moment Voldemort was trapped in the magic bead, he could never escape because Remy didn't design a release function at all. Only in, not out. Moreover, this thing is very strong. Even Remy can't break it by his own strength. He can only destroy it through alchemy. But if Remy uses alchemy to destroy it, then the Voldemort imprisoned inside it. Although it is not certain whether Voldemort can be resurrected due to the Bug Horcrux, his current body will definitely die. Don't waste your energy. I can't even break this thing from the outside, let alone you from the inside. The inside of this thing is stronger than the outside. Instead of wasting your energy in there, I suggest you practice hard. Maybe one day you'll have a chance to escape. But that will be a long time in the future. For now, I suggest you please me, or I will throw you into a cesspool. And it's a Muggle cesspool. No, it's no fun to throw you into the manure pit. How about I feed you to a Muggle and let you go into his intestines to see the process of making manure? As Remy spoke, he smiled an innocent and pure smile. But this smile made Voldemort's face darken, and he was so angry that he trembled all over. At this moment, Voldemort only felt that Remy was the Dark Lord, a Dark Lord darker than him. No, Remy can no longer be described by the word Dark Lord. He is clearly a devil. I'm looking up at the moon. How many dreams are flying freely? Yesterday was forgotten. The wind dried up the sorrow. I want to meet you again on that bleak road. Life has been pulled. The tide ebbs and flows. The place with you is heaven. While humming a song that makes people dance uncontrollably, Remy flew freely in the air at a leisurely pace, playing with a yo-yo at the same time. There's a golden ball inlaid on each side of the yo-yo, one of which turns black and then turns gold. Although Remy's yo-yo skills are not good, and it looks like he's just swinging it around randomly, Remy still has a lot of fun playing with it. Xiaofu, why don't you speak? You're such a loser. I just defeated you again. What's the big deal? The worst that can happen is to start over again. Look at it more positively. Do you have a cross eye? Why can't you look at it positively? Do you know about the AQ spirit? Do you know how to enjoy life while you can? Get high. Are you happy? I am very happy. As he was talking, Remy started singing again. He is in such a good mood today. The only regret was that there was no one to share it with. Remy could only share his joy with Voldemort, a half-human, because Remy was not going to return to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in short term. Not only was he not going back to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, he wasn't even planning on showing his face in the wizarding world again. He needs to stay hidden for a while, giving the magic world the illusion that he has temporarily disappeared. Only in this way can he plan better for the future. Xiaofu, I plan to impersonate you and contact your old subordinates in your name, and then lead them to stir up trouble in the magic world. You don't have to do anything, and your fame will spread throughout the wizarding world. How is it? Are you very touched? But you don't have to thank me too much. I'm a kind person who always likes to help others. The most instigating person in the world is you. Xiaofu, can you hear me? What do you think of my plan? Wei. After calling for a long time, Voldemort seemed to be dead and didn't say a word to Remy. Remy was so angry that he swung his yo-yo dozens of times. After flying for more than 20 minutes, Remy landed in a forest and then went back to his old job of drilling holes in the ground. Soon he dug out a bunker. For the rest of the time, Remy stayed in the bunker, oblivious to what was happening outside, and focused on teasing Voldemort. He provoked Voldemort in different ways every day, and his smug look made Remy feel a little ashamed when he looked in the mirror. But he didn't stop there. "I know it's wrong, but I won't change it even if I'm beaten to death." A week passed in a flash, and Remy felt that the time was about right. So he used transfiguration to transform himself into Voldemort. After many twists and turns, one day, Remy arrived outside Malfoy Manor. Looking at the huge manor in front of him, which exudes a depressing atmosphere everywhere, Remy curled his lips in disdain, thinking that the designers here are really unskilled. A place designed to look like this would make anyone who lived there for a long time become a mentally disturbed person or partially mentally disturbed, but it is impossible for them to be completely non-disturbed. However, the design of this manor saved Remy a lot of trouble. He turned into a black shadow and hid effortlessly in the shadows between the buildings, moving forward freely. On the other side, Lucius Malfoy, who had just finished his afternoon tea leisurely, walked towards the study with brisk steps, holding a copy of today's latest newspaper in his hand. That freak Remy is gone. Voldemort is gone too. Who else in the entire wizarding world can tell me what to do? The era that belongs to me and the Malfoy family is finally here. The door of the study was pushed open with a creak. Lucius, who was originally in high spirits, suddenly widened his eyes, and the newspaper in his hand fell to the ground. In his study, a man in a black robe was standing in front of the bookshelf with his back to him. Lucius instantly recognized his identity from his bald head that looked like a boiled egg without a single stray hair. "Master, master, why are you here? What did you come?" Lucius asked in a trembling voice. "What? Can't I come?" Remy asked calmly without turning his head. In fact, it wouldn't make much difference if he looked back. Even if he looked back now, it would just make a few more dents on the boiled egg. How could it be? Lucius smiled guiltily and quickly closed the door. "Master, have you dealt with that Remy?" Snort. Remy snorted coldly, and a monstrous black energy suddenly emerged from his body. "Are you doubting my power?" "No, absolutely not." Lucius hurriedly shook his head to deny it, cold sweat instantly breaking out on his forehead. "It's just that Remy is very cunning, and my son has suffered several losses at his hands, so You mean, I'm the same as your son?" Remy turned around and asked coldly. Lucius's face changed drastically, and he quickly shook his head to deny it again, hesitating and unable to utter a complete sentence. Snort. Another cold snort frightened Lucius so much that he trembled all over. Remy raised his hand towards Lucius, and Lucius was so scared that he took a half step back and subconsciously clenched his cane. "Give me your wand," Remy said, glancing at Lucius' hand. Remy stepped forward as he watched Lucius swallow his saliva and transform himself into a Sichuan opera master to perform a face-changing stunt that took him 5 seconds to complete. "What? You don't want?" Remy asked. No. Lucius forced a smile, slowly pulled out the wand from his cane, and held it in both hands, respectfully presenting it to Remy. Remy took the wand and waved it twice casually, as if conducting a band. Remy nodded in satisfaction. "It's okay. It can be used for a while." Remy said. "As long as the master likes it, that's good." Lucius said. "Give me your arm," Remy said. Lucius's expression changed again. "This, master, I..." Looking at Lucius, who put his arms behind his back, Remy quickly realized that he must have misunderstood, which made him feel angry and amused. "Idiot, I want the magic mark on your body. Show me that mark," Remy said coldly. Lucius suddenly realized, smiled awkwardly, and quickly rolled up his sleeves and extended his arm to Remy. There was a magical mark on his arm that looked like a tattoo. It was the mark of a snake, and it moved. But Remy didn't want to appreciate this moving tattoo. Moving things are not rare in the magical world. Remy wanted to make some modifications to this tattoo. He raised his wand and pressed it on Lucius's tattoo. The next moment, his tattoo, which had been wriggling constantly, suddenly began to move violently. The snake body that was originally twisted in a weird way stretched out, and the neck that originally had only one head grew another head, followed by another, and another, and another. After a while, the original single-headed snake evolved into a 9-headed snake. If you cut off one head, 2 will grow back. This is called a Hydra. From today on, all of you will officially become a member of the Hydra organization. Your only mission is to disrupt the wizarding world and let my name resound through the sky. Let the entire wizarding world fall into fear of me. But you are not allowed to kill anyone or even hurt anyone. Do you understand? Lucius, who was extremely excited after hearing the previous words, was stunned when he heard the latter. If we don't kill anyone or even hurt anyone, how can we make the wizarding world fall into fear? What's more, if he can neither kill nor hurt anyone, then why is he still a Death Eater? Isn't it better to just be a rich man? And why does this request sound so weird coming from Voldemort, a demon who has killed countless people? Remy snorted coldly when he noticed the confusion and a hint of suspicion in Lucius' eyes. I don't need to explain to you why I do this, right? Remy said. Lucius shuddered and lowered his head quickly. No, of course not, my lord. Whatever you say is what it is. Very good. Remy nodded with satisfaction. It doesn't hurt to tell you. Among all the people who follow me, you're the one I trust the most. That's why I came to you first. Lucius forced a smile and didn't believe a word Remy said. Other people's fear can make me stronger. Remy waved his hand, and a large black mist came out. In the mist, there were countless human faces struggling and wailing. Listen, what a beautiful melody. Lucius shuddered and nodded in agreement. So, Remy suddenly grabbed Lucius's shoulder, scaring him so much that he almost screamed. Then he let go and patted his shoulder gently. Every person's life is very precious. They can provide me with more delicious food called fear, and I will become stronger and stronger. When the time comes, as long as fear still exists in this world, I will not die. I will become the true immortal Lord of Dread. Looking at Remy pretending to be Voldemort with strange behavior and loud laughter, Lucius had only one thought in his mind. Is this person crazy? He must be crazy. No, this guy has been crazy since the beginning, and he's even crazier now. Just as he was wondering in his heart, suddenly, Remy, who was laughing wildly, turned around and pointed his featureless face at Lucius. Lucius was so scared that he quickly looked at his nose and his heart, not daring to move or think of anything else. That little b*** D, named Remy, is not dead. He is also immortal, Remy said, scolding himself without any mercy. Lucius was shocked, but before he could say anything, Remy continued. But I've already severely injured him, and it will take some time for him to revive. The most important thing is, I already know his secret. Do you know what it is? It's the Godhead. The Godhead that can make a person a true god. He possesses a broken Godhead. Remy said excitedly. Deity. Can it make people become gods? Lucius' pupils shrank suddenly, and he suddenly felt his mouth and tongue extremely dry and subconsciously licked his lips with his tongue. Huh? What? Are you moved? Remy suddenly came up to Lucius and asked. No. Lucius shuddered and shook his head quickly. Absolutely not. Master, only you are worthy of possessing the godhood. That little b*** D. Remy is not worthy of possessing such a divine object at all. That's right. Remy nodded vigorously. That little b*** D has no idea how precious what he has is. He doesn't know how to use the power of the Godhead at all. It's a pity that the Godhead has been bound to him, and I currently have no way to separate it. But I used his blood as a guide and have found 6 other Godheads that exist in this world. As he spoke, Remy waved his hand, and 6 crystals of different shapes and colors appeared in the air. Looking at the 6 crystals that suddenly appeared in the air, Lucius was deeply attracted by them at first sight and could not take his eyes off them. This is the Godhead of Diablo, the god of terror. It is most compatible with me and is destined to be mine. With it, I will become the true god of terror. As he spoke, Remy put away one of the green crystals and controlled the remaining 5 crystals to move closer to Lucius. And you, As long as you work hard for me, after I am crowned as the demon god, I can grant you a divine nature and let you become a demon god too. Remy said, Gudon. Lucius swallowed his saliva and then bowed quickly. Thank you for your grace, master. I dare not ask for godhood, as long as I can help you become a god. It is the highest honor for me. Just as he finished speaking, one of the 5 crystals in front of him suddenly lit up in an orange color. It seems that you and the godhead of Belial, the god of lies, are most compatible. My dear servant, Lucius, said Remy. Me? The demon of lies? Compatibility? I blanch. Lucius was so frightened that he fell to his knees. It's unfair. Master, I didn't lie. How could I lie to you? What I just said was sincere. I swear to you, I absolutely did not lie. Ha 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 ha. It's even brighter. Look, it's even brighter. Hearing Remy's sick laughter, Lucius' face turned green and his heart was filled with despair. Okay, get up. I don't care whether you lie or not. I only care whether you can complete the task I assign to you. Remy said, Call. Lucius breathed a sigh of relief and slowly stood up. Master, rest assured, I will complete the task you assigned to me and make the entire magical world fall into fear, said Lucius. Very good. Remy waved his hand, and only the orange godhead of the demon of lies remained in the air. Then Remy used his hand as a pen to quickly write Lucius' full name on the godhead. Seeing this scene, Lucius' eyes widened. This divine power will belong to you in the future. I hope you can prove with practical actions that you are truly qualified to get it. Remy said, Thank you, Master. Your humble servant will definitely prove his worth with practical actions. Lucius bowed again and said, Well, I need to study hard how to separate the divine power from that little b asterisk 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 d. I will gather everyone together in a while, and then you will manage them for me and help me spread fear in the magic world. Remy said. Lucius' eyes suddenly lit up, and he could not hide his excitement as he stood up and bowed again. Yes, master. He also told Lucius some specific matters about spreading fear, and also symbolically asked about the latest situation of the magic world. With Lucius's farewell, Remy's figure disappeared in a flash. What godhead, what demon of fear, what Diablo, all of these were naturally made up by Remy, and they were full of loopholes and irrelevant. But who made Remy play the role of Voldemort? Isn't it normal for Voldemort, who has already gone mad, to speak nonsense? The first principle of cosplay: capture the character's characteristics and restore the character as much as possible. Having successfully satisfied his craving, Remy returned to his hiding place in a good mood. While humming a song, he took out the yo-yo that held Voldemort and played with it twice. Hey, please give me a score for the degree of restoration of the cosplay I just did. If the full score is 100, how many points can you give me? Remy asked. I really want to chop you into 100 pieces. Voldemort, who was sitting in a magic ceiling bead, snorted coldly and said nothing. He seemed to be very arrogant, but in fact he felt very sad inside. He had just seen the entire conversation between Remy and Lucius intentionally. At first, he thought that even if Remy imitated his appearance, he would never be able to imitate his spirit, let alone his rust. He would definitely not be able to say a few words before being discovered by that cunning old man Lucius. However, what he never expected was that Remy not only perfectly restored his appearance, but also perfectly restored the spirit and rust. No, it was beyond. Remy's disguise as the Dark Lord makes Voldemort, the real Dark Lord, feel even darker. What made Voldemort even more difficult to accept was that the means Remy used to deceive Lucius and the goals he proposed were more attractive than his pure-blood theory. Even he was tempted. If Voldemort hadn't suddenly remembered that he was the real Voldemort, he would have said that he also wanted to join Hydra. Even Voldemort suspected that even if Remy did not use his name but his true identity, he could easily poach his people and create a larger army of Death Eaters. Remy can not only restore him, but also surpass him. Remy is more qualified for the position of Dark Lord than him. This made Voldemort extremely frustrated and even a little depressed. Hey, say something. Why do I feel like you seem a little depressed now? Cheer up a bit and stop being so playful. Okay, Remy said while flicking the marbles. Voldemort still said nothing, not even raising his head. After playing with the yo-yo for a while and making Voldemort stagger all over the place, Remy, feeling bored, threw the yo-yo into his homemade washing machine. A week later, Remy found Lucius again and used the mark on his arm to recruit other Death Eaters, and then made passionate but insane promises to them. The effect was very good. When the Death Eaters saw the godhead created by Remy, which was actually useless except for attracting attention, they all went into a frenzy. They believed at least 80% of what Remy had said, if not all of it. The remaining 20% probably because they didn't quite believe that Remy, pretending to be Voldemort, would really grant them the godhood. After all, the real Voldemort had almost no credibility. Remy also let Voldemort watch the whole fork-passing meeting. After watching it, Voldemort became even more withdrawn. From then on, let alone talking to Remy, he even stopped moving as if he was dead. Another week passed, and Remy left his hiding place and returned to his shop in Diagon Alley. The situation in the shop made Remy completely dumbfounded. It was empty, all the goods had disappeared, leaving only the empty shelves standing. I hurried into the warehouse and saw that even the warehouse was empty. The most important thing is this damn warehouse manager and part-time shopping guide is also missing. Oh my God, who is so bold as to rob my store and even take away the employees? Remy kicked the shop door open with a bang and rushed straight to Gringotts, which was facing the door of his shop. He wanted to find the goblins inside and ask them clearly. Maybe the goblins knew who robbed the shop. As soon as he entered Gringotts, everyone inside looked at him in shock. He's Remy? Remy Barrett. Remy is still alive? How is this possible? Didn't the newspaper say that he had been taken away by you-know-who? Didn't the newspaper say that he had an accident during the Triwizard Tournament? Is this true? How could he still be alive? How could he possibly survive that, man? Is what the newspaper said true? That person really didn't come back. You say, is there a possibility that he's also the boy who lived? I don't know who made this guess, but everyone fell silent. Remy ignored them. He didn't even listen to what they said and stormed across the lobby to find the goblin supervisor on the podium. Hey, let me ask you, do you know which guy was so bold as to rob my store? Remy flew to his eye level and looked into his eyes and asked. The goblin supervisor stared at Remy in a daze until Remy repeated it again, and then he came to his senses. How is this possible? Dear Mr. Barrett, can you tell me how you survived? Or did that person not actually come back? Asked the goblin supervisor. Answer me first. Do you know who robbed my store? Remy asked. Robbery? No, there has never been a robbery in Diagon Alley. At least there hasn't been this kind of crime in the past 10 years or so, said the goblin supervisor. What about the things in my store? Where are my guns? Could it be that they grew wings and flew away? Remy asked. Oh, you mean that? The goblin supervisor pushed his glasses as if he had suddenly realized something. Since you disappeared, there has been news from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry that that person has returned, and you unfortunately died to protect Mr. Harry Potter. Although the Ministry of Magic and the Daily Prophet have repeatedly emphasized that everything is normal and your death was just an accident, everyone is still panicked because all the students said that person has returned. Under such circumstances, Mr. Barrett, the magic firearms in your store have naturally become popular items. They were not robbed, but sold out. Sold out? I'm not here. Who did those people give the money to? I'm not in charge of the cashier, said Remy. Isn't Mrs. Weasley the acting store manager you hired? The goblin supervisor asked. If you have already fired her, I can help you contact a legal advisor or the Ministry of Magic. Huh? Mrs. Weasley? Oh, yes, I do have an acting store manager. Sorry, I forgot about that. Remy said, It's okay, but sir, it's your turn to answer my question now. Did that person come back? Asked the goblin supervisor. You mean Voldemort? Of course he's back, big time. Remy got several important pieces of information from the goblin supervisor. The first was that his store was not robbed, and the second was that the Ministry of Magic denied the fact that Voldemort had returned again and again. At first, Remy was very puzzled and thought it was the consciousness of the universe causing trouble, but soon Remy figured it out. It is not the cosmic consciousness that is correcting the direction of the world's progress, but the current minister of magic fudge. It's the nature of man that's at work. He is still the same young man as before, without any change, still as greedy for money and fame, still as timid and cowardly, and still so power defending. What he is doing now can be summed up in one sentence. Delay it, then delay it. I bet you won't launch a general attack during my term. After my term is over, whoever wants to take care of the flood will take care of it. Anyway, it has nothing to do with me. Having such a minister of magic is truly a blessing for the wizarding world. With a sigh, Remy returned to his shop and was a little confused for a moment, not knowing what to do. Sitting in the rest area of the store for a while, Remy couldn't help but think of someone. I don't know if Luna has been worried about me during this period. Thinking of this, Remy took out his cell phone from his dimensional pocket and prepared to call Luna, but as soon as he took out the phone, it rang. Did this little girl get the news, or has she been calling me? Pursing his lips, Remy took a deep breath and answered the phone. The call was connected, but after the call was connected, the two of them fell into silence at the same time. It was a long time before Luna's voice came from the phone. Is that you? Luna asked. It's me. I was trapped before, but now I'm out. How are you? It's fine. I'm fine. That little jerk Voldemort has no ability to hurt me. He just trapped me. Don't worry. Well, where are you now? Now? I'm in the store now. Let me tell you, when I came back just now, I saw that the store was empty and I thought it was robbed. Then I ran to Gringotts across the street angrily to ask, but they told me that my store was not robbed but sold out. You didn't see my expression at that time. It was so embarrassing. By the way, how have you been recently? Have you studied well? Have you eaten well? Remy was still chattering here, when suddenly a flash of fire appeared in the fireplace in the store. Remy turned around and stared blankly at Luna and the fireplace behind her. A question flashed through his mind. When did I install the fireplace in the store? Before Remy could figure it out, Luna took 2 steps at a time and rushed into Remy's arms and hugged him tightly. I'm sorry for making you worry. Remy came to his senses and hugged Luna tightly. I promise, I will never disappear again. Luna didn't say anything. She raised her head, stood on tiptoes, and kissed Remy with all her strength. Seeing the deep affection in Luna's eyes, Remy, feeling ashamed, could only respond to Luna more affectionately. However, just as the two were loving each other, suddenly, an old man coughed beside them. Ahem. Sorry, I really don't want to bother you, but I'm really anxious to find out what's going on with Voldemort. Dumbledore said apologetically. He slowly separated from Luna, but Luna's arms were still tightly around him, even tighter than before, as if she was afraid that Remy would leave. Feeling the strength of her arms, Remy did not let her go, but continued to hold her tightly. Voldemort has been resurrected, and has become much stronger than when I saw him in my first year. Remy turned his head and looked at Dumbledore and said, and his methods were very strange. He trapped me in a cave before, and it took a lot of effort to get out. Really? Then do you know where he is now? I mean, is there any way you can find him? Dumbledore asked. Maybe he's recuperating somewhere now? I gave him a hard blow before I was trapped. Although I failed to kill him because of that unreasonable Horcrux, he was definitely seriously injured. Remy said, Oh, Dumbledore's eyes lit up. So, his power is not as good as yours now. Of course he is not as good as me. Otherwise, how could he trap me? If he was stronger than me, he would have killed me long ago. That guy looked at me as if he saw the murderer of his father, even though I have never offended him. Remy said. Dumbledore breathed a sigh of relief, a relaxed smile on his face. That's good. I won't bother you anymore. You guys continue. After saying that, Headmaster Dumbledore disappeared in a flash. Watching Headmaster Dumbledore leave, Remy first breathed a sigh of relief, then rolled his eyes. Ruining my good deeds. Continue? I would like to continue, but the question is it possible to continue after being interrupted? Before Remy could finish complaining in his heart, Luna told Remy with practical actions. Yes. They embraced each other affectionately and continued to kiss passionately, their breathing becoming more and more rapid and heavy. The hot air exhaled by each other intertwined to form a heat wave, which made their faces redder and hotter. As the temperature gradually rose, their eyes became increasingly blurred, their rationality gradually faded, and their primitive instincts gradually took over their bodies. Luna rested her head on Remy's shoulder, letting a pair of large hands slide down and wander over her back. She just instinctively shook her body gently and rubbed against Remy's chest. Her behavior made Remy even hotter, and Remy's behavior also made Luna's temperature continue to rise. After another suffocating, passionate kiss, Remy gently hugged Luna and looked at her affectionately. Luna's eyes dodged for a moment, but she quickly regained her composure and nodded slightly to Remy with a firm gaze. Remy took a deep breath and kissed Luna again, carrying her as he left the lounge area. At this moment, suddenly, a flash of fire appeared again in the fireplace next to him. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, dear. I didn't know you were there. I heard you were back, so I came to give you the money from your previous sales. I'm so sorry. The money and the account book are all here after you're done." "Oh no, I'm leaving first." Looking at Mrs. Weasley, who disappeared in a panic and spoke without thinking, Remy felt calm inside. "No way. It hurts so much that my balls are about to break. You all agreed to come one after another, right? Can't you come together? Do you have to ruin my good thing like this? I have no grudges or enmity with you in the past or present. So why are you trying to treat me like this?" Well, with a helpless sigh, Remy slowly let go of his hand. Just when Remy was about to put Luna down, suddenly Luna stretched out her arms and hugged Remy's neck, and at the same time wrapped her legs around Remy's waist, hanging on Remy like a koala. When the golden wind and jade do meet, it is better than countless things in the world. What about Voldemort? What about the wizarding world? What about the arms industry? How could they compare to the intoxication of the land of gentleness? However, Remy is an ambitious young man with great ideals. After enjoying a few days of comfort, he used great perseverance to get his life back on track. It definitely wasn't because Mr. Lovegood came to visit his daughter because she hadn't returned home for several days in a row. Absolutely not. To get back on track, the first thing Remy did was to move the gun production line to the basement of the store, creating an integrated production and sales system with a store and a factory to facilitate the transportation of goods. However, before the store could reopen, Headmaster Dumbledore approached Remy again and told him that Minister Fudge was cracking down on spreading false rumors and warned Remy not to tell anyone about Voldemort. One reason was that Remy's identity was too sensitive. He was not only the person involved in the incident of Voldemort's return, but also a famous arms dealer in the wizarding world. If he talked about Voldemort, even if Minister Fudge was not crazy, there would be others who would raise objections. Yes, after more than a year of hard business, Remy's reputation as an arms dealer has spread throughout this not-so-big wizarding world. Second, there is no need to cause panic among ordinary people. Although wizards in the magic world can use magic, most of them only know everyday magic. Even if they master some offensive magic, most of them have no combat experience. Not everyone is as immortal as Remy and can stand still and attack. The battle between wizards is more like a duel between archers. Although the shooting speed of the bow is not as fast as that of bullets, it is definitely a high-level technical discipline to dodge or use magic to offset it. Not many people have mastered it. Remy thought about it and agreed to Headmaster Dumbledore's warning, advice, and suggestion after Remy's proposal to Headmaster Dumbledore to dismiss Minister Fudge was rejected. Since it is impossible to remove the incompetent Minister of Magic, why bother making things difficult for myself? Only a mentally ill person would compete with a fool or a madman. Besides, Remy didn't lose anything by not talking about Voldemort in front of outsiders. On the contrary, his silence made the matter more mysterious. As we all know, half-exposed and looming temptations are the most attractive. Remy's attitude of neither admitting nor denying also makes those who are good at imagining things even more uneasy. The calming effect is negative. This result was definitely not what Headmaster Dumbledore and Minister Fudge wanted to see, but the cause was what they wanted to see, so even though they were unwilling, they had no choice but to let the situation continue to develop in this way. Remy had no idea about their complicated feelings, but he was extremely happy because a new batch of magic firearms were sold out before they were even put on the shelves. It's a pity that this grand occasion did not last long, not only because Remy's production capacity was too large, but also because most ordinary wizard families did not have much savings, and their financial resources could not support their unlimited repurchases. This made Remy very helpless. The thing he was most worried about finally happened. The common people became paupers, and there was no more money to be made from them. It's difficult. How about I change the gun production line to manual, create some jobs, and give the money to buy my guns? Thinking of this idea, Remy felt that something was wrong with his brain. What's the point of transferring money from one hand to the other? Just to make some money every day? Or is it because of a bug in this card that's causing the data to get lost? Changing the production line is also very troublesome. Forget it. Let Lucius work hard to spread the panic to the entire European wizarding world, and then spread it to the Berry Country wizarding world to open up new markets. Grow bigger and stronger, and create greater glory. Thinking of this, Remy asked Hundan to help look after the store. He went to the basement to prepare and then contact Lucius. The B************ D also came back. She was taken to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry by Principal Dumbledore. After a while, Remy, who was writing a speech in the basement, looked up at the red light that suddenly turned on next to him. This lamp was recently installed by Remy. The switch is on the counter above the store. Now, when it lights up, it means that the soul has encountered something that cannot be handled and needs his personal help. Remy came to the surface through the magic elevator. As soon as he opened the door and came out, he saw Harry Potter in front of the counter. Harry also saw him. "Oh, Remy, thank God. It's so good to see you again." Harry excitedly walked up to Remy and gave him a big hug. "I heard you were back a few days ago, but Headmaster Dumbledore said you were alone with Luna, so I didn't come over then to avoid disturbing you. Then I wanted to come, but Headmaster Dumbledore said our current situation is very sensitive, and there are countless eyes in the entire wizarding world staring at us, so it's not appropriate for us to meet. Today, I finally agreed to come to see you. How have you been recently? Did Voldemort hurt you? Is everything going well with Luna? By the way, I heard that your store business is very good. Have you developed any new firearms?" And maybe he was too excited. Harry talked a lot in one breath and asked a lot of questions, which made Remy dizzy. Every time Remy was about to answer, Harry would ask the next question or even the next two questions, leaving Remy with nothing but to listen to him quietly. He continued talking for a long time, like a person who hadn't spoken for 10 years. When Harry realized what was going on, he scratched his head in embarrassment. "Sorry, I seem to have gotten a little too excited," Harry said sheepishly. "Be more confident and take off the seam," Remy said, and then pointed to the lounge area. "Let's sit over there and talk slowly." "Good." The two of them walked to the sofa in the lounge area and sat down. The waiter very attentively brought them black tea and snacks. After pouring 2 cups of black tea, before he even started drinking, Harry couldn't wait to ask what happened after he left that day. Remy spoke selectively, trying not to tell a single lie, but he concealed a lot of things and told a true lie. "That's about it. I didn't want to fight anymore and wanted to run away, but he kept following me like a tail. I was so annoyed by his harassment that I stopped in a deserted place and fought with him again. Finally, I hit him hard and made him run away, but when I wanted to leave, I found myself trapped." Remy shrugged, remaining calm throughout the entire narration, as if he was telling someone else's story. After listening to Remy's story and learning that Remy was not hurt at all by Voldemort, Harry first breathed a sigh of relief, and then his eyes gradually became complicated. "Remy, I really want to know how strong you are." "How strong am I?" Remy didn't answer the question, and Harry didn't ask any more questions. He may not have asked further questions because he thought it would be impolite, but in reality Remy didn't answer because he himself didn't know how strong he was. So far, he hasn't encountered anything that could break his defenses, so Remy has no idea what his upper limit is. Maybe the mushroom bomb can test Remy's upper limit, but no matter how suicidal Remy is, he will definitely not seek mushroom bomb experiments. That thing is not suicidal. It's like lighting a light in the toilet, seeking death. Although protective magic can almost absolutely defend against non-magical physical attacks, who can say that fusion and fission are not magic? Is it not magical enough? It is more magical than magic. Even if it isn't, what if it has some similarities in principle with magic? It doesn't need to be much. Even if there's only 1% commonality, it can only produce 1% effect on the protective magic. The terrifying power of a mushroom bomb is enough to surpass any magic and far surpass it. The kind that is 80,000 blocks ahead. After chatting with Harry for a while, Harry told Remy that Headmaster Dumbledore had gathered the members of the Order of the Phoenix who had fought against Voldemort. They were currently at Sirius's house, which had become their new base. By the way, Harry also talked to Remy about life in the new school year after the start of the semester, and expressed his expectation that the new defense against the Dark Arts Professor would teach them more powerful magic in the new year. After listening to Harry's imagination, Remy suddenly remembered that if there were no major changes, this year's defense against the Dark Arts Professor should be that pink toad? Neville is ecstatic. Oh no, it should be his toad Leaf Ecstasy. It seems I have to practice transfiguration. Wait, is Leaf a male or a female? I have to ask Neville later. Remy suddenly felt excited at the thought of being a matchmaker. What is more pleasing than the beauty of adults? It must be the beauty of toads. Thinking of this, Remy, who had just sent Harry away, immediately found a pen and paper and wrote down a couplet. May all the affectionate toads in the world finally get married. This is destined in the previous life. Don't miss the marriage. After wrapping in a gift box, Remy still felt like something was missing. That's right. It's a love potion. Wait, can I combine the transfiguration potion and the love potion together and add some fragrance to make a perfume? Thinking of this idea, the corners of Remy's mouth curled up wildly, and he quickly plunged into the laboratory to tinker with it. After working for several days, Remy had to admit a fact after failing to make the love potion for the 6th time. His talent seemed to be entirely in alchemy, and he had no talent at all in potions. Of course, it is not ruled out that it is because Remy has never studied potions seriously. In Professor Snape's class, Remy has never seriously made potions. His potions class is basically equivalent to a cooking class. Oh, it's all Professor Snape's fault. He doesn't know how to discipline me properly. If Professor Snape had been more responsible for me, will my potion skills be so bad? There's nothing I can do. I want to make the potion properly, but it looks like I'll have to cheat with alchemy. Putting the blame squarely on the Pot King, Remy adjusted his mindset and was about to conceive the final product when suddenly the red light in the laboratory came on. After walking out of the laboratory and returning to the store, Remy couldn't help but raise an eyebrow when he saw the 5 people standing in front of the counter. Remy didn't recognize them, but recognized their clothes. They were Aurors from the Ministry of Magic. What's up, gentlemen? Are the Aurors preparing to comprehensively update their weapons? Don't worry, I have sufficient supply and they can be customized. Remy said, No, Mr. Barrett, we are here to formally inform you that you are under arrest for violating the Dangerous Magical Items Control Act, said the leading Auror team leader. WTF? What did you just say? Remy asked with a frown. The Dangerous Magical Objects Act, sir, said the captain. What's the content? Don't tell me it's about gun control. The Ministry of Magic has never had any gun control laws. I am very familiar with the laws of the Ministry of Magic. Remy said, this bill was just passed 3 days ago, and it is indeed targeting magical firearms. The captain said, taking out a piece of paper and showing it to Remy. This is an arrest warrant. It has detailed information. You can take a look. Remy waved his hand without even looking at it. The current law does not apply to previous crimes. This newly enacted law cannot be used as a basis for arresting me. You've been selling magic firearms openly for 3 days after the new law came into effect, haven't you? asked the captain. In response to the captain's question, Remy was silent for a moment, then raised his head and looked straight at the Aurors, making them all feel a little uncomfortable. Mr. Barrett, I know this matter is a little far-fetched, but we are also acting in accordance with the orders of the Ministry of Magic, and I hope you can cooperate. We will take you to the Wisingamot, where you will have the opportunity to plead for yourself, and you will not necessarily be imprisoned in Azkaban, said the captain. Your first day as an Aur? Do you think I care about being put in Azkaban? Remy said, looking at the captain. The team leader smiled awkwardly. Since you don't care, Mr. Barrett, please cooperate with us and follow us. We don't want to embarrass you, and we hope you don't embarrass us. Okay, let's go. Is that ungrateful Fudge in the Wisingamot? He took so much bribes from me, but he dared to play this trick on me. I must kill him, Remy said. Several Aurors quickly turned their heads away to indicate that they heard nothing. Only the team leader had to smile awkwardly because he still had to talk to Remy. This Wisingamot meeting is chaired by Senior Deputy Minister Umbridge. Minister Fudge will not attend, said the team leader. Go and inform him that I want to see him at the Wisingamot. Otherwise, I will expose all the evidence of his bribery. Remy said, I will pass it on to Minister Fudge, said the captain. Well, let's go. Letting the ghost watch the store, Remy followed the Aurors and used apparition to come to the Ministry of Magic. The Ministry of Magic was crowded with people, and when they noticed Remy, they all looked at him with strange expressions, which made Remy even more impatient. It's totally incomprehensible. I don't know what's wrong with that Olby *******D Fudge. Why'd he target him? And with such a ridiculous reason. I can't figure it out. I really can't figure it out. Remy, who didn't understand why, was taken to the Wisingamot's courtroom with a gloomy face. Here, Remy soon found out why Fudge was targeting him. You have violated the Dangerous Magic Items Control Act, illegally sold dangerous magic items, and intentionally created war panic in the wizarding world. We also found that you spread false rumors in Gringotts, seriously undermining the harmony and stability of the wizarding world. Do you admit this? Umbridge said. Remy snorted coldly, thinking that after all this fuss, it was still related to the panic in the wizarding world. That old ********D Fudge was really cautious enough. But breaking the law doesn't necessarily mean committing a crime. Illegal acts are acts that violate the provisions of the law, cause damage to the social relations and social order protected by the law, and should bear legal liability according to the law. Criminal behavior violates the provisions of criminal law, has serious social harm, and should be subject to criminal liability according to law. Their penalties are completely different. If it were in the past, after being accused, Remy would definitely try every possible means to make a big deal out of a small matter, turning the judge's accusation of a crime into an accusation of breaking the law, and then giving some money to make the matter go away. But today, facing the accusations made against him by the Chief Judge Dolores Umbridge, Remy didn't want to pay any attention. Don't talk nonsense to me. Let Fudge come to see me. You took my money, did my job, and then changed the law to say that I broke the law. You still have the nerve to be the Minister of Magic. Hearing Remy's blunt words, the jury suddenly became agitated, as if they were unaware of this. Ding, ding, ding. Quiet. Umbridge tapped the hammer gently, not panicking at all, even very calm. If you want to sue Minister Fudge, you can do so later after you have produced the evidence. Now, this time we are going to discuss your violation of the regulations, said Umbridge. So you were waiting for me here? Hearing Umbridge's words, Remy snorted coldly and made himself a high chair, then sat down and put his legs on the table in front of him. Although he was the one being judged, Remy not only sat down, but his sitting posture was more arrogant than anyone else. Today, that old ************** D Fudge had me captured. Let him come to see me. Otherwise, you could try it, Remy said. Remy's arrogant sitting posture and words made all the jurors frown, except Umbridge, who was sitting on the podium and remained calm. Contempt of court, aggravated by a second degree, Umbridge said with a faint smile on his face. If you do this again, it will constitute a crime of provoking the Wisingamot. This alone is enough to put you in Azkaban. Whispering sound. With a disdainful sneer, Remy crossed his arms over his chest and leaned back slightly, letting the front two legs of the stool dangle off the ground. My patience is limited. I'll give you half an hour to call him over. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Remy said. As Remy finished speaking, magic began to flow from his body. The jury was shocked by this scene. Some of them were so scared that they quickly took out their wands and pointed them at Remy. Even Umbridge, who had been wearing a half-smile, changed his expression and quickly took out his wand and pointed it at Remy. After waiting for a while, although the magic power gushing out of Remy's body was increasing, Remy still didn't perform any magic, which made everyone present very confused and puzzled. But no one let down their guard. Instead, they became even more nervous because that magic power was just too much, and it was still increasing. Although they didn't know what Remy was doing with the pure magic power, judging from the fact that it didn't dissipate immediately after it came out, no one could guarantee whether the magic power would suddenly turn to magic. If such a huge magical power is transformed into magic, the consequences will be unimaginable. Remy Barrett, are you going to defy the Wisengamot and the Ministry of Magic? Umbridge asked sharply, no longer as calm as before. Remy didn't even look at her and continued to output magic power. Seeing Remy's behavior, Umbridge became even more uneasy and started shouting at the top of his voice. Someone, capture him for me. The Aurors, who had already taken out their wands in the corners, swallowed subconsciously when they heard Umbridge's order. After a moment's hesitation, one of them gritted his teeth and took the lead in attacking Remy. Imprison quickly. Bang! The magic exploded in mid-air when it was about 1 meter away from Remy, and the sound was even louder than a balloon being blown up. As for Remy himself, he didn't even raise his head, and even the frequency of his rocking chair didn't change at all. This scared everyone. To be frank, what was happening before their eyes was completely beyond their understanding. What are you waiting for? Do it together. Do you want to disobey my orders? Umbridge screamed. Remy, who was disturbed by the sharp shouting, glanced at Umbridge indifferently, and there were only 4 words in his mind to describe her. Fierce on the outside, but weak on the inside. As Umbridge gave the order again, the remaining Aurors also took action, and magic of various colors shot out from their wands towards Remy. Everyone is petrified. Expelliarmus. Hanging fuchsia. Retreat quickly. The flames are blazing. Shattered into pieces. Thunder explosion. Avada eats big melon. Everyone, stare. From ordinary magic to high-powered offensive magic. After all of them were ineffective, one person was forced into a corner and accidentally exposed the killing curse. The appearance of the killing curse immediately attracted the attention of everyone present, including Remy. But they didn't stare at him for long. As Remy's magic power grew stronger, even those at a distance could feel the oppressive feeling it exuded. Soon, even the jury couldn't help but take action. Let's talk about right and wrong later. The most important thing now is to stop the person in front of us from continuing to gather magic power. However, even the killing curse can't do anything to Remy. So what's the point of having more people? Remy ignored their attacks until... Crucio! Umbridge let out a scream and swung his wand at Remy. Facing his attack, Remy's eyes flashed purple, and the next moment, she stretched out her hand and pointed, and a magic that was many times more powerful than the magic emitted by Umbridge's wand instantly shattered Umbridge's magic and rushed towards her without slowing down. Umbridge's pupils shrank suddenly, and he was so scared that he quickly hid behind the podium. After missing the first strike, Remy pointed again nonchalantly. This time, he pointed at the podium. Boom! There was a loud bang, and everyone subconsciously stopped what they were doing. Even Remy raised his eyebrows in surprise and withdrew his hand. The rostrum had disappeared, and in its place was an old man with gray hair holding a magic wand. Albus Dumbledore. Dumbledore's appearance did not break the deadlock. Instead, he also fell into a deadlock after his arrival. Seeing that there was no restrained magic on Remy, Dumbledore frowned. His lips moved for a long time, but he didn't say a word. He knew the cause of the incident, and that was why he rushed over But at this moment, Remy's attitude was already very clear, and he didn't know how to persuade Remy to stop. After Umbridge's initial yelling, she realized that Dumbledore ignored her, and she shut up. After a long silence, Dumbledore found an old friend and asked him why things had turned out this way. Dumbledore was slightly relieved when he learned that Remy had insisted that Minister Fudge come see him. There is still something to talk about, which means Remy hasn't completely lost his mind. Remy, I will ask someone to invite Minister Fudge over. Please put away your magic first. Dumbledore said. I refuse. Remy said, if he doesn't come in half an hour, I will blow this place up. I mean what I say. Hearing this, everyone's face changed. This is the core area of the Ministry of Magic, and the Ministry of Magic is located in the urban area of the Muggle world. If an explosion really happened, thinking of the huge power of the explosion that Remy accidentally caused last time, I am afraid that the power of this intentional explosion will be even greater. No, we must stop this explosion. Realizing the seriousness of the problem, several members of Parliament immediately volunteered to go to Minister Fudge. Even Umbridge expressed his intention to ask Minister Fudge for help and disappeared without anyone's consent. It is not difficult to tell from the speed at which she disappeared that her desire to escape was definitely greater than to ask someone to come. Jace, go to Mr. Lovegood's house and invite his daughter over. Dumbledore pulled someone and whispered in his ear. Jace was a little confused, but nodded. Then he operated away from his seat. After a while, Umbridge still hadn't returned, and Minister Fudge was nowhere to be found. However, Jace brought back both Lovegood and his daughter. Seeing Lovegood and Lovegood suddenly appear, even someone as arrogant as Remy quickly put his legs down. Principal Dumbledore, isn't it very unfair of you to do this? Remy said dissatisfiedly. Just confront each other. Why call the other party's relatives or even parents? He is disrespectful to the elderly and has no martial ethics at all. Put away your magic power. It would be bad if you hurt Mr. and Ms. Lovegood. After saying something to Remy, Dumbledore looked up at the clock on the wall again. It seems that Ms. Umbridge, the chairperson of this meeting, will not be back in the short term. Ladies and gentlemen, how about we discuss this next time? Dumbledore pushed his glasses and said, in fact, I don't think what Remy violated is a big deal. The reason is that the implementation of the new regulations was not fully notified in accordance with the regulations. It is better to forget it. I believe that after this incident, Remy will abide by the law. Will you obey the law? Everyone looked at Remy, and none of them believed it. However, since Dumbledore, the chief wizard of the Wizengamot, had personally characterized the incident, and what he said did make sense, coupled with the shady dealings revealed by Remy, everyone was puzzled and nodded to show their agreement with the approach proposed by Dumbledore. The most important thing is to quickly move this unstable, humanoid, self-propelled bomb out of the Ministry of Magic. They did agree, but Remy didn't want to leave in such a whimper. However, due to the presence of Luna and her father, Remy had no choice but to agree to Dumbledore's proposal, even though he was reluctant. Let's leave first, but when you see that old B************ D Fudge, tell him for me. I will remember this grudge, Remy said with a cold face. He has always been the one who bullies others. When has he ever been bullied by others? If you dare to mess with him, we will have a grudge against each other. After leaving the Ministry of Magic and returning to the store, under the urging of Dumbledore and the supervision of Lovegood, Remy reluctantly closed the store and removed all the goods from the shelves. After listening to Dumbledore's advice to him to be patient for the sake of the greater good, Remy reluctantly promised not to seek revenge on Fudge. But as soon as Dumbledore left, Remy rushed into the basement, got all his equipment, and came to Lucius's manor. When Remy met Lucius in his study, he didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Lucius, are you confident that you can serve as Minister of Magic? Remy asked. Minister of Magic? Lucius was stunned at first. Then he was ecstatic, thinking that Lord Voldemort was going to take action against the Ministry of Magic. I dare not. The position of Minister of Magic certainly belongs to you. My great master, said Lucius. Stop talking to me about that bullshit. I'm asking you, can you be the Minister of Magic? Remy cursed. This, Lucius's brain turned rapidly. It may be difficult to shake Fudge's position in the Ministry of Magic with only his subordinates' connections. He has been a Minister of Magic for many years, and his influence is everywhere. I'm asking if you have the ability to do it. Do you have the ability to manage the Ministry of Magic? Remy cursed again. After answering the question incorrectly once again and hearing the anger in Remy's words, Lucius was so scared that he trembled all over and nodded quickly. Capable. I am capable of managing the Ministry of Magic, Lucius said quickly. Remy's expression eased a little. It would be best if you have this ability, but I mean to really manage the Ministry of Magic, not to mess up the wizarding world. Do you have that ability? Really run the Ministry of Magic well? Don't cause trouble to the wizarding world? Lucius was full of doubts, but he nodded. I am also capable of doing this. Very good. Remy nodded vigorously, then waved his hand, and several large boxes appeared. As soon as the boxes appeared, they opened one after another, revealing the golden galleons filled inside. Lucius' eyes suddenly widened. So many gold galleons, even their entire family combined, does not have so many gold galleons. This is the activity fund I gave you. I want you to get rid of Fudge and become the Minister of Magic yourself. After becoming the Minister of Magic, you should, on the surface, devote yourself to the future of the wizarding world. It would be best if you could have a good relationship with Dumbledore and make him trust you absolutely. But secretly, you should assist the rest of our Hydra organization to spread fear in the wizarding world and use the Ministry of Magic to clean up their mess. Do you understand what I mean? Blanche? Wonderful. In this way, wouldn't both the white and black worlds be under the control of our Hydra organization? Lucius was immediately struck by Remy's beauty and quickly bowed to her. Understand, I will live up to my master's trust and become the Minister of Magic and gain Dumbledore's trust. What is the most important thing about being a Demon King? Strength? Cruel and ruthless? No, it's my subordinates. If you are alone, how can you show off when you go out? You will probably be laughed at wherever you go. But it's different when you have subordinates. You don't have to do everything yourself. There will naturally be subordinates to do it for you, making you feel very confident. No wonder the devil in movies and TV shows always sends his minions to give experience to the heroes. Lucius is a very capable subordinate. Although it is still unknown whether he can do the job of Minister of Magic well, he has indeed done the job very well. The vacation of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry has not even ended yet, but the Ministry of Magic is already filled with the smell of gunpowder. Smoke of war is rising everywhere, and flowers are blooming everywhere. After brewing for a period of time, as long as someone rises up, a grand uprising will be launched. The level of discord within the Ministry of Magic had even reached the point where the Daily Prophet had to report it publicly. Lucius had even taken the initiative to contact Remy to take credit for this matter, saying that he had bribed not only people within the Ministry of Magic, but even the directors of the Daily Prophet. Remy naturally praised this capable subordinate verbally for his ability to draw lessons from his experience, and then scolded him, telling him not to contact him every day when he had nothing to do. Since she is not a beautiful subordinate, Remy is too lazy to chat on the phone with Lucius for a long time. There was disharmony within the Ministry of Magic, and a storm of public opinion was brewing outside. Fudge, who had lost his power, naturally had no energy to cause trouble for Remy again. The previous events seemed like a farce, as if they had never happened. It's a pity that my shop can only be reopened after Lucius becomes the Minister of Magic. When he becomes the Minister of Magic, I must find a way to trick him into helping me sell arms to the wizarding world in neighboring countries. Remy, will make back all the money I have lost these days with interest in the future. With another hateful look at the empty shop, Remy closed the door, left Diagon Alley, and headed to King's Cross Station via Muggle transportation. Although the wizarding world was in turmoil, the Muggle world was not affected at all. The subway was packed with people during the morning rush hour, and all kinds of perfume and body odor mixed together, which made Remy dizzy and almost motion sickness. After leaving the subway, Remy looked at the closed door with lingering fear and suddenly admired the Muggle's resilience. He really didn't know how these guys could hold back from vomiting and continue to squeeze into the subway day after day. Remy thought as he walked, and when he entered the station and looked at the passers-by hurrying by, he realized it must be because they suffer from olfactory dysfunction. I came to the magical world through the magic door on the wall. The situation here was similar to that of the Muggle station. It was also chaotic and full of people. It was even more chaotic than the stations in the Muggle world because there was no one to maintain order. Several black cats, meowing as they moved through the crowd, did not bring any fun to the crowd, but instead caused the already chaotic crowd to become even more chaotic in the attempt to avoid them. It's already the 5th school term. Time flies by so fast. With a sigh, Remy picked up the box and boarded the train, moving forward along the carriage looking for a suitable position. Along the way, everyone who saw Remy stopped talking and stared at him silently. Their curious and fearful eyes made Remy wonder if he had really become the Dark Lord. Otherwise, why would they be afraid? Could it be that he has been too immersed in playing Voldemort recently, causing his own temperament to be assimilated? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Maybe it was because Remy arrived early, and he could see empty compartments everywhere in the back carriage. Remy randomly chose one and walked in. He skillfully took out a small table and tea set, poured a cup of steaming black tea, and placed 2 magic crystals on it, feeling as comfortable as when he first entered school. After taking a sip of hot tea and stretching comfortably, Remy, who had nothing to do, took out a thick magic book from the suitcase and started reading. This magic book is not a book that records magic, but an abbreviation of the Book of the Magic World. It only records interesting stories that happened in the magic world in the past. After reading the book with great interest for a while, Remy raised his head when there was a knock on the door and a voice that sounded like singing. "Excuse me, is there any space here?" Looking at the smiling Luna, Remy also smiled and stood up and bowed very gentlemanly. "Of course, dear ma'am, please take a seat inside," said Remy. Remy invited Luna in to sit down and poured her a cup of tea. Looking at Luna holding the cup and sipping tea like a kitten, he was stunned for a moment. "Why are you looking at me like that? Is there something dirty on my face?" Luna asked, wiping her face with her hand. "No, I was just thinking, if our first meeting was like this, what will we be like today?" Remy said, "Who knows? Even if we're not together, we'll still be good friends, right?" Luna said, "You are very confident in your own charm." Remy said, it was obviously a very ordinary question, but Luna didn't know what she was thinking of, but her face suddenly turned red, and she lowered her head to drink tea without saying a word. Seeing this, Remy smiled slyly, stood up and sat next to Luna, and when he sat down, he put his arm around Luna's waist. "You haven't come to the store to see me since you went home. Even last time at the Ministry of Magic, you left without saying a word to me. Why don't you want to see me?" Remy asked. "My father wouldn't let me look for you." Luna whispered, "Didn't you come to my house to look for me?" Remy was defeated with just one sentence. Looking at Remy with an embarrassed look on his face, Luna smiled happily. Putting down the teacup, Luna reached out and put her arms around Remy's neck and kissed him gently on the face. "I've always missed you and wanted to see you. But my father hopes that I can stay at home with him more before I leave. Come to my house next holiday, okay? My father won't object to us being together." Luna said. Remy forced a smile and thought to himself, "This is not a question of whether your father objects to us being together, okay? Even if he supports us being together, he can't support me going to your house to play with you, right?" Remy wanted to refuse, but looking at Luna's expectant eyes, he couldn't say no, and finally had to agree. "Okay, I'll come to your house when I have prepared a decent gift," said Remy. "It's so kind of you." Luna leaned on Remy's shoulder and rubbed Remy's face with her head. Her scattered hair scratched Remy's neck, making it itchy. "But you don't need to prepare any gifts. You are the best gift the world has given me." If time could go back, Remy would like to go back to 1 month ago. He should tell himself back then not to send Lucius to wreak havoc on the Ministry of Magic. It wasn't because of any backlash, but because of the turbulent situation within the Ministry of Magic. Fudge had no time to take care of other things, so Umbridge had no role to play. This year, the professor of defense against the dark arts at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry is Sirius Black. Harry was happy, and so was Headmaster Dumbledore. The smile on his face never left when he announced the decision in front of everyone at the party. Only Remy was feeling extremely depressed as he looked at the perfume he had already prepared in his hand. He had been busy for so long, but it was all in vain. Without Umbridge, Remy felt that there would be no happiness this year. Depressed, Remy could only bury his head in eating. "Hey, Remy, why do you seem unhappy?" "What? Don't you want to go back to Gryffindor?" Harry asked. "No, I just suddenly felt that time pass so quickly, and I felt a little emotional." Remy shook his head and said, "Yeah, time flies." Harry said, "I remember we sat together at the opening ceremony of the first year, and then you went to Ravenclaw College, and then to Hufflepuff College and Slytherin College. I think you will definitely be written into the school history. You should be the first student to stay in all 4 colleges since the founding of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, right?" "Maybe, but have you forgotten that I went to Azkaban College last year? I was a 5-time champion," Remy said. Harry couldn't help but burst out laughing when Remy mentioned last year's Azkaban house. That was really funny. He was too nervous at the time and didn't find it funny. But looking back now, he suddenly thinks Remy is still the one who knows how to have fun. After chatting and eating, the welcome party was over before we knew it. After 3 years, Remy returned to the Gryffindor dormitory, to his original dormitory, and he actually had the illusion that he was in a dream. To welcome Remy back, Harry and his friends took out the snacks they had brought, played musical instruments, and even danced. They talked and laughed until late at night. When they all went to bed, Remy lay in bed but couldn't fall asleep. Remy lay in bed, thinking about random things for a long time, until the sky turned white. He closed his eyes in a daze, but he felt like he was woken up just after he closed his eyes. Like a sleepwalker, Remy followed his roommates to eat and go to class. He didn't know how he left the dormitory, let alone how he returned to the dormitory. He even felt like he had never left the dormitory at all. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when everyone else was taking a nap, Remy successfully resurrected. There was another class in the afternoon, and it was the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. Remy was still looking forward to the Defense Against the Dark Arts class taught by Sirius. And when the class really started, Sirius did not disappoint Remy's expectations. As soon as the class started, Sirius demonstrated a beautiful transfiguration to everyone. Then he reviewed with the students the powerful magic that they had learned before and used it to fight against the enemy. Then he asked the students to practice in pairs. This made the students very happy, especially since this class was taught together by Gryffindor and Slytherin as usual. Sirius was very provocative and made the students of the 2 houses practice in pairs. The houses that had disliked each other for a long time suddenly fought in the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. Not everyone was fighting. For example, Malfoy, who was in the same group with Remy, almost cried when he learned that he was going to practice sparring with Remy. In the end, Remy was fed up with his constant noise and kicked him over to Harry, and then his life became even more tragic. Remy sparred with him just for the sake of showing it, because he was too lazy to fight him, but Harry was so affectionate to Malfoy that he almost beat him into a pig's head. Remy has no interest in bullying children, but he is very interested in watching children fighting each other or seeing children being beaten. They were fighting there, and Remy was drinking tea with Sirius, and he would also help Sirius prevent some accidents, just like he had become an assistant teacher. After the class, students from both colleges had a great time playing, and at the same time, they had a more intuitive understanding of Remy's strength. At least no one would doubt Remy's strength anymore. Even though Remy was very active and capable of causing trouble in the past, few people actually saw Remy take action. Even in last year's top 3 competition, Remy just paddled all the way to the finals. In this situation, it is inevitable that some overconfident guys feel that even if Remy is strong, he will not be that strong. At least he will not be able to crush them. But after their personal experience in today's class, they finally realized that Remy's strength is really enough to crush them. Except for the Defense Against the Dark Arts class, there are not many changes in the other courses. It can even be said that there's almost no change from previous years. Cuthbert Binns's lectures were still enough to make all the students sleepy. Professor McGonagall's classes were still so strict that no one dared to be distracted at all, and Professor Snape had returned to his previous deduction points crazy deduction behavior, and was madly deducting points from Remy, as if he was going to make up for the points he hadn't deducted last year. The only big change is that the Little Mermaid's private lessons have just started. As soon as Remy learned the news, he took Luna with him to attend the class. The teaching location was not in the Black Lake as Remy thought, but in the underground tunnel that they passed through by boat when they first entered school. There were already oil lamps, blackboards, and special chairs there. The professor was lecturing overtime on the shore, and the Little Mermaids were sitting on chairs submerged in the water, listening to the lecture attentively, with only their heads above the water. From time to time, they stretched out their arms and raised their hands to ask questions, just like female athletes participating in water gymnastics. If they were allowed to participate in the water gymnastics event at the Olympics, they would definitely win the championship. They wouldn't even need to perform anything. They would win the championship just by showing up. After attending a class, Remy improved the learning environment for the Little Mermaids. She replaced the oil lamps with special incandescent lamps, and also replaced all their seats with fish ergonomic chairs that were more suitable for them, reclining chairs. Considering that lying down to attend class is not very polite to the professors who come to give lectures, Remy also equipped the professors with reclining chairs and the kind that can rock. In addition, Remy also asked for some hair from the Little Mermaids and sent it to the old wand maker who had been professionally making wands for thousands of years and commissioned him to help develop a wand that was most suitable for the Little Mermaids. By the way, Remy also made several new clothes for the Little Mermaids that can be worn underwater so that they no longer have to wear seaweed. However, what Remy didn't expect was that before the clothes were handed over to the Little Mermaids, they were already favored by Luna, as melodious music sounded underwater. Remy and Luna danced freely underwater in specially made dresses. At first, they were the only ones dancing, but soon, the Little Mermaids, infected by the music and dance, also joined the dance team and danced around the two of them. Dancing underwater is freer than dancing on land. Under the illumination of special lights, it is like a dream, making people forget all the trivialities and worries on land. Groups of small fish were attracted by the lights. They danced and blew bubbles as if they were singing, dancing, and playing basketball. But when the party was over and it was time for dinner, the Little Mermaids taught them a lesson through their actions. Don't join the fun of the terrifying upright apes unless necessary. And don't join the fun of the water monkeys. After enjoying their first candlelight dinner underwater, Remy gave the Little Mermaids the costumes he had prepared in advance. He also gave them the lighting and sound equipment he had used in his previous dance, so that they could continue to dance underwater in the future. Afterwards, Remy helped the Little Mermaids create a complete set of magical underwater kitchen utensils based on their living environment, allowing them to enjoy hot meals underwater. After solving the problems of clothing and food, Remy designed an underwater city for the Little Mermaids based on the legend of Atlantis, but Remy did not help them build it. It is better to teach a man to fish than to give him a donkey. Remy gave them many waterproof books on architecture and design, and provided them with a large number of tools so that they could learn and modify and build their own civilization and culture according to their own preferences. The Little Mermaids underwater were busy carrying out the large-scale infrastructure construction, and Remy on land also received good news. Lucius succeeded in usurping the throne. Lucius, who successfully usurped the throne, stuffed many of his own people into the Ministry of Magic as planned. After initially gaining a foothold, he not only eased relations with Headmaster Dumbledore, but also eased relations with Remy on behalf of the Ministry of Magic at the instruction of Voldemort, and re-recognized the legality of the arms business. After the arms business was able to continue, Remy soon received a large order from the Order of the Phoenix, which was said to have been proposed by Headmaster Dumbledore himself. This order was quite considerable, but did not cause much fluctuation in Remy's heart, because long before Lucius approached him to ease the relationship, Remy had negotiated a super large order with Lucius, the foreign trade of magic firearms. This order is simple. Remy is the supplier and the Ministry of Magic is the general distributor, exporting magic firearms to other countries under the official name. This is a cooperation that benefits both parties. Remy gives the Ministry of Magic free pricing rights. The Ministry of Magic can add as much price difference as they want, as long as they have the ability to negotiate orders from abroad. Arms are highly profitable products, and if a long-term cooperation can be achieved, it will undoubtedly be a great achievement for Lucius, who has just come to power, and will be enough to help him secure his position as Minister of Magic. So on the evening of the day, when Remy finished talking with Lucius, Remy's trumpet received a call request from Lucius. Lucius reported the conversation with Remy during the day to Voldemort in detail and strongly recommended that Voldemort authorize him to facilitate this cooperation. The reason Lucius gave was very simple. The arms business could not only help him gain a foothold in the Ministry of Magic, but also create unrest in other countries and make them fall into fear. Voldemort naturally agreed to such a proposal that was for the future of the organization, and also told Lucius to build a good relationship with Remy as much as possible to stabilize Remy in case Remy ran away. One person played two roles and arranged everything clearly for Lucius. Lucius quickly and happily agreed to cooperate with Remy and immediately established a new department specifically responsible for foreign arms trade. It's a pity that this department hasn't yet negotiated any orders, not even a sample order. Fortunately, Remy is not in a hurry. The orders from the Order of the Phoenix will be enough for him to survive for a while. Now that the arms foreign trade is on the right track, he just needs to wait patiently for a while. This period of time was not long. In the second week after the start of the second half of the semester, Lucius happily found Remy and placed a large order of considerable quantity. It was said that the buyer was the Ministry of Magic of England, but Remy did not ask for the details as he was not interested in it. Who cares who he sells to, as long as there is an order? After receiving the first foreign trade order, the road to foreign trade seemed to be opened all of a sudden. Within a month, Lucius placed 3 more orders with Remy, and each order was bigger than the last. The production line was running at full capacity and was almost smoking. Remy would even wake up laughing in her sleep. In order to commend Lucius, Remy even took the time to log on to his trumpet and convene a meeting of all Hydra members. At the meeting, Remy first scolded the members who were responsible for making trouble in country, and then praised Lucius's arms trade for exporting fear to other countries. Finally, Remy adjusted the future activity plan of the Hydra organization in the name of Voldemort. On the one hand, he increased the export of magic firearms, and on the other hand, he sent people abroad to win over local black magicians, expand the scale of the organization, and spread fear on a larger scale. To sum it up in one sentence, grow bigger and stronger and create greater glory. Remy did not hide all the arrangements from the real Voldemort and let him witness everything with his own eyes, which made Voldemort completely autistic. Voldemort lay in the ball motionless all day long. If he hadn't reacted every time the ball was shaken, Remy would have suspected that he had killed Voldemort. In order to further provoke Voldemort, Remy also took some time to go to the Room of Requirement to find his Horcrux, and then confiscated the locket from Umbridge through Lucius. With the diary, ring, tiara, and pendant box, the 4 Horcruxes were in hand. Remy also made a few more beads and strung them together with the beads that imprisoned Voldemort into a bracelet, so that Voldemort could see his beloved Horcruxes as soon as he opened his eyes, if Voldemort still had eyes to open. Afterwards, Remy wanted to capture the giant snake Nagini to accompany Voldemort, but Remy made several search radars but failed to find a location of the giant snake. Each time there were only 2 targets displayed on the radar. One was Harry at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and the other was Hufflepuff's gold cup kept in the underground vault of Gringotts. After repeated verification, Remy came to a conclusion that even he found strange. Voldemort only had 6 Horcruxes. In order to verify this conclusion, Remy even asked Voldemort himself directly, but Voldemort did not satisfy Remy's curiosity. Finally, Remy searched his memory to find the answer. In the original plot, Nagini was a new Horcrux made before Voldemort was resurrected. Now Voldemort had undergone some small changes in the resurrection process, so he did not have time to make the 7th Horcrux. After finding out the exact number of Voldemort's Horcruxes and confirming that there was only one Horcrux left besides Harry, and knowing its exact location, Remy naturally would not let it continue to be alone. But Remy didn't go to pick it up in person. As the leader of a faction with so many subordinates, why do you still have to do everything yourself? Wouldn't it be nice to spend more time with Luna and dance with her a few more times if you had that time? He directly created a small account to assign the task to Lucius. The next day, Lucius led a group of people into Gringotts and quickly confiscated the gold cup that Remy needed. Although private property is sacred and inviolable, Lucius used the banner of clearing out possible dangerous dark magic items in the private vaults of imprisoned Death Eaters and only searched the private vaults of those Death Eaters who were already in prison. Furthermore, after Remy pretended to be Voldemort, he instructed Lucius to make the entire search process open and transparent and subject to supervision by everyone. Therefore, not only did no one raise any objections, but all wizards in the magical world applauded. Headmaster Dumbledore even wrote a letter of praise to Lucius, encouraging him to continue his efforts in fighting against the Death Eaters. Because of this incident, all those who had previously complained about Lucius stuffing a bunch of pure-blood families into the Ministry of Magic shut up, making it even easier for the Hydra members, including Lucius, to be cleared. As for how Hufflepuff's Gold Cup was delivered to Remy under public supervision, of course it was replaced by someone else after the Gold Cup entered the Ministry of Magic. When the last Horcrux was sealed into the bracelet by Remy, Voldemort laid down completely in despair, and he didn't even move when the bracelet was shaken. So Remy upgraded the washing machine he had made before and transformed it into an automatic skewering machine, allowing Voldemort and his Horcruxes to happily spin in the skewering machine for 24 hours. The hidden danger of Voldemort was completely eliminated. The members of Hydra's Dark Department were gradually transferred abroad, and Lucius also completely established his foothold in the Ministry of Magic. Remy only needed to enjoy campus life at school to receive official orders from the Ministry of Magic continuously. His life was so comfortable. It's just a pity for Headmaster Dumbledore. He is no longer worried about the wizarding world of Britain, but the unrest reported from time to time in the surrounding wizarding world makes him even more worried. For this reason, Headmaster Dumbledore not only did not disband the Order of the Phoenix, but expanded the size of the Order of the Phoenix to be prepared for a counterattack by Voldemort at any time. Under Remy's instruction, Lucius not only did not stop the expansion of the Order of the Phoenix, but instead strongly supported it and provided a lot of help. This made his relationship with Headmaster Dumbledore increasingly warm, and he seemed to be on the verge of becoming Dumbledore's right-hand man. Time flies, and a year and a half has passed in the blink of an eye while I drink tea and go to class every day. In the summer vacation before the end of 6th grade and the upcoming 7th grade, Remy, who had just turned 17, had become the most famous arms dealer in the global wizarding world. Remy didn't care about this false reputation. What he cared about more was Luna, who was 16 years old. 16 is a hurdle because the legal age for marriage in country is 16. The same is true for the magical world of Ingwa. The wedding is a sacred thing. In order to hold the wedding, Remy specially bought a house as his official home in the wizarding world, and also as his and Luna's future home. In order to hold this wedding successfully, Remy specially invited Professor McGonagall as the wedding planner, striving to hold a grand wedding in line with the traditions of the wizarding world. At the same time, Remy sent out invitations to celebrities in the magic world early on, and even contacted his unreliable parents a month in advance to make an appointment with them. When Remy's parents heard that he was getting married, they were very happy and gave him their warmest blessings. Finally, they even asked him whether he had reached the legal age for marriage. If it weren't for the phone line, Remy would have cast multiple ice spells on them to wake them up. On the wedding day, magical fireworks bloomed in the sky and colorful petals fell in the wind. Accompanied by the performance of the Ravenclaw music group, Luna and Remy, wearing standard wedding dresses, walked hand in hand slowly to the end of the hall under the gaze of the guests. There, the parents of both parties and Dumbledore, who serve as the master of ceremonies, had been waiting for a long time. There is nothing fancy. Everything is done according to traditional standards, showing dignity and stability. A wedding is not just about the newlyweds. All the guests are also the protagonists. In order to satisfy so many guests, the wedding had to be done in a formal manner. But it is limited to basic processes. As the basic process was completed, it got dark, and Headmaster Dumbledore, who was acting as the master of ceremonies, immediately announced loudly that the dance session would begin next. As Headmaster Dumbledore waved his wand, the environment changed drastically wherever the wand passed. Gorgeous and fashionable carpets, a variety of musical instruments, tables filled with sumptuous food and drinks, and so on are presented one by one. The specially invited band that had mixed in with the guests in advance stood up and walked to their stage. With a passionate prelude, Remy and Luna smiled at each other and walked to the center of the dance floor hand in hand. Behind them, the bridesmaids and groomsmen followed them onto the dance floor in groups of two, with Remy and others taking the lead, and with Headmaster Dumbledore constantly inviting everyone to join. Those who found dance partners also joined the dance team, leaving only single nobles and those who were not keen on dancing to enjoy the tables of delicious food. As the accompaniment music officially began, Remy held Luna's hand, and the two danced gracefully in their wedding dresses at their own wedding. It was at this moment that the others were surprised to find that the wedding dresses that the two wore, which looked ordinary before, actually had special effects. And it was a very gorgeous streamer special effect. As Remy and Luna swayed their bodies, soft white lights swirled around them, twinkling with tiny stars, attracting the attention of all the guests. Many female classmates stared at Luna with shining eyes, with nothing but envy in their eyes. Some people thought that the costumes were not enough, but the dancing skills could make up for it. They put in all their efforts and vowed to compete with Luna and Remy in dancing skills. However, they soon discovered that the gap between them and Remy and Luna in dancing skills was even greater than the gap in clothing. Dance one song after another, and when you get tired you can go down or rest, chat, have some snacks and drinks, or even drink some wine, and when you've rested enough you can go back to the dance floor and continue dancing to your heart's content. This was a carnival for Remy and Luna, and also for all the guests, especially when Remy and Luna went off stage to rest. Everyone seized the opportunity and put in all their efforts to compete with each other. In the corner of the auditorium, Nicholas Flamel, who was in the area reserved for the elderly, looked at everything around him with his eyes curved into crescents and a smile on his face. After watching for a while, he could no longer suppress his inner restlessness and pulled his wife into the dance floor. On the other hand, Remy's parents might have been a little reserved at first because the others were wizards, but after a few glasses of red wine, they were the most cheerful ones on the dance floor, and even pulled Mr. Lovegood to dance with the three of them. Seeing that the limelight was about to be stolen by the two people who didn't walk, Remy hurriedly pulled Luna back to the stage and quickly regained the center position. The dance lasted until late at night, and, when it ended, everyone's face was filled with joy. Both the host and the guests had a great time, though they were a little exhausted. Carrying Luna to the bedroom, Luna jumped down and said she wanted to take a shower first. Remy laid down on the bed and didn't want to move anymore. His eyelids moved uncontrollably as they became intimate. Remy was suddenly awakened by a heavy pressure while he was in a daze. He opened his eyes and found that it was Luna, who had taken a shower but was still wearing a wedding dress, sitting on him. She was fixing her hair and looking at him with charming and affectionate eyes. At this moment, a background music suddenly sounded in Remy's mind. A new journey has emerged. How can we stand still? Travel through time and space. Do your best. I will come to you, smiling in the face of danger. Dreams will come true soon. Take courage and move forward. A miracle will happen.
Hello, everyone. As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500 plus novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.